Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Lansing, Michigan for round number 24 of the OB Builders Cup Series here on V-Speed. Tonight, the RS Button Boxes 250 at Michigan International Speedway. The birthplace of the American car manufacturers. Just a testament to speed. It's so much fun, such a fast racetrack, and we're going to bring all the action here tonight for a 3-race until the playoffs. It's getting down to crunch time, and glad to have everybody here tonight as we're getting ready to get this thing underway. Tonight in the booth is Scott Shive. I've got him in the booth. Scott, glad to have you with us here tonight. How you feeling tonight, brother?
I'm glad to be here, Eddie. I am very excited. As we know, we've got 3 races, like you said, until these playoffs. So these drivers, like you've told me, they are hot and heavy out on the track. They are competitive. They are always ready to go. And with the playoffs so soon, right around the corner, and so many drivers not yet locked in on wins, they're going to fight it out even harder than they have been in these past few races.
Yeah, and we are just a few races. I can't believe it's flown by so fast. I feel like I'm holding on to it. I'm like, wait, pump the brakes. Surely it's not playoff time. Yes, it is. You see just 3 races left until we lock in the round of 6, and boy, it's competitive. Right around the cutoff line, you can look at it right here. Nick King, Johnny Shade, Nigel Christensen, and Jamison Middlemiss on the outside looking in. But those like Justin Belmont, who have just been hanging on by a thread, sitting there right at the cutoff line. Up at the top, it's been the same since I've been here. He's not lost the lead since I have joined this series early in the season, and that's Randy Mullins, who sits atop of the point standings. He has got a massive lead for only the 2 wins. I mean, you see there, Brandon Bikey, Kenny Coppola, both with 3 wins, but those 11 stage wins, that makes all the difference in the world when it comes down to playoff time. Those playoff points are huge, Scott. And they're getting right down to the end of it. And if you're down at the bottom of the first 4 out, it's time to put up or shut up.
Those guys, Nick King, Nigel Christensen, Johnny Shade, and Jamison Middlemiss, they're fighting hard right here. They're the guys that, right, in these past few races, you know, Nick King and Nigel Christensen, they could maybe get in on points, but everyone else like Johnny Shade and anyone down below them, they're going to have to probably get a win here to lock themselves in. And if you're, Jeff Taylor or Justin Belmont, you're down there, down below, not quite safe. You're never safe if you're not in a win, but I wouldn't want to be those guys down near 14th, 15th, and 16th.
Well, this racetrack is a good place to get a win if you need one. Michigan International Speedway. Scott, tell us about this a really fast 2-mile oval.
Like you said, Michigan, the birthplace of a lot of auto sport, motorsport, and really the car in general. Brooklyn, Michigan out here, 2 miles in length. It's more of I would say super speedway style, but it's definitely a drafting style track. We're going to see that a lot tonight. 18-degree banking in both turns in 1, 2, 3, and 4. And on the front stretch in that D tri-oval, we'll have a 10-degree of banking. 4 corners, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Opened on October 13th of 1968. So this is a great track, Eddie. So much fun. So much fun to watch.
Yeah, well, and what's so interesting, that's very unique about how this track and how it works is just because it's such a unique track. I mean, you had Auto Club, but it's gone now. So Michigan kind of sits alone on top of these 2-mile ovals. And man, it's all about the draft in these next gen cars. It's all about trying to stay in a line, keep that speed up. You do not want to pull out a line unless you're going to be able to make a pass. It is so difficult. We'll talk about that strategy as we get into the race, but we got a bunch of cars here. We've got to jump right into the grid. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's jump in. Who's going to start on the front row? Well, look at somebody who needs a win. That's Tim Wortman Jr. Jake calls him TWJ. And he is going to start on the pole here tonight with a lightning fast 38.958, the only driver in the 38s. And Brandon Fetterplace going to start in that second position. In third, going to be Chris Davis with Randy Mullins, your points leader, there in row number 2. In row 3 is going to be Paul Gallimore with Barry Sanders. 7th, Nigel Christensen, Jeffrey Taylor. What I'm noticing, a lot of guys in the top 10 are ones who need wins and who are trying to get into the playoffs. Not surprising to see them come alive here. And then round out your top 10, Alex Coffey, Warren Young, and Scott. hit me with the 11th through 20th.
Well, back in 11th, we'll have Hunter Carmichael right in that 39.2. Then Darren Mills on his outside in 12th. Up next in 13th, we'll have Nick King in that 24 car. On his outside, Matt Cox. Then back in the 15th position, almost halfway through, we're at Caden Norfree in that 20 car. And with a 39.4 will be Jordan Schmeets. Then back in 17th on the inside, Johnny Shade alongside Jamison Middlemiss. Jamison, like we saw down below at those points, could be needing a win today. Rounding out your top 20 will be Kenny Coppola and Jared Clark.
In 21st, Ed Bulls Jr. with Justin Belmont. They're on the cutoff line. We'll keep hammering those points in as the race goes on, but that's important. He's going to start 22nd and have a lot of work to do. In 23rd, Brandon Bikey, Shane Davis going to start in 24th. 25th, Blaine Wilson with Aaron Matthews in 26th. 27th, Matthew Campbell, Ryan Huff in the 28th spot. And 29th, Nicholas Atwood with Matt Mackin rounding out your field here tonight. So 30 drivers going to hit the high banks of Michigan International Speedway, and the RS Button Boxes 250. We're getting ready to roll out as we'll take a look now at your race analysis. 125 laps here tonight. Pit road speed 55 miles an hour. 6 tire sets available. I think that'll be important to pay attention to as this race goes on. 1 green white checkered attempt as always, and 100% fuel load. Open setup in those stages at lap 30 and 60. Those stage points going to mean everything as we get ready to. Those playoff points going to make a huge deal going into the playoffs. You better be getting those if you're up here. You got guys who are starting in the back who've got plenty of wins or locked into the playoffs. But folks like Brandon Bikey, folks around the back of the field, they need to get up to the front, get those stage points. It's going to be really, really important. Bill coming around. We're going to get the green flag in just a few seconds. This track has, we saw just how difficult it can be. And with this being an open setup race, they'll be struggling with that grip, especially early on. The wash coming off of turn 4, we saw a lot of drivers in real life have issue with this. There's a lot of aero things. I think this track is all about aero and how you manipulate it. You'll see some guys go down to the bottom, try to make that work, but that outside line will keep the momentum up, try to keep the runs off the corner. That's going to be extremely important. And like we said earlier, if you're going to make a pass, you better do it quickly, because if you ride side by side, the side draft will yank both of you back, and you'll end up losing a ton more spots. So we're going to go around one more time. Scott, you said you raced this last night, man. Tell me about it. How'd it go? What did you notice? What can these drivers expect as we get ready to get this thing going?
Yeah, so I had a 110 lapper last night, so just 15 laps short of tonight's race distance. It was a great one. One thing I'm looking at here, there's a few things I'm looking at. First is restarts. It's really important to carry as much momentum you can into turn 1 as possible. What I found is that this track, especially fresh at the start of the race, the bottom is king for those first 2 laps. If you're on the top, there's not enough grip up there yet. But if you can ring the bottom for just those first 2 laps, you can make up a lot of spots on that inside. But after those first 2 laps, the top will start to become the most dominant lane. You'll start to lose that speed on that bottom. Also, as that bottom goes away more and more, the more you can go down to the bottom less and less as we go on in these runs. Because I found that when I was 10 laps old on my tires, 15, that you would get extremely loose trying to go to the bottom, especially in 1 and 2. There's a few bumps right off of turn 2 that can really get this next-gen car loose. And we'll see a lot of drivers, we know with this next-gen car that it can get tight in a lot of instances, but really, besides getting tight behind another car, it's a lot easier tonight to get loose. So these drivers are gonna have to make sure that they put it on the edge, but it can be easy to lose that rear.
Absolutely. Well, getting ready to go green. Tim Wortman Jr. will lead us down to the green flag. 125 laps here at Michigan and into the Geico restart zone. Barney got the flag in his hand, and green flag is out in the RS Button Boxes 250 here in Michigan.
Down through turn 1 now, Chris Davis trying to make it 3 wide for the lead here on lap 1, trying to take over that top spot with Brandon Fetterplace on the outside and your pulse hitter Tim Wortman on the inside.
3 wide on lap 1. Some of these guys not waiting around at all. And Chris Davis said, you know what? You guys are leaving the gap. I'm taking it. And he will do exactly that. Jumps up in front of Brandon Fetterplace. Tim Wortman down on the bottom. And already after lap 1, we've got a new leader. That did not take long at all. Through the middle there, took the run, and that's what you have to do. You have to complete those passes. You have to make that draft work, and you can see one mistake, getting out of line, not making the right call. These guys are going to be coming quick with those drafts. That's something that we will see all night long. So you're seeing everybody kind of jostle for position, try to find a spot to put their car, and you can see Tim Wortman going down to the bottom here, trying to take that spot away from Brandon Fetterplace.
Chris Davis on that first lap when he initially took the lead, so close to barely being clear off of that 34 of Brandon Fetterplace. Now those leaders, Tim Wortman has taken back the second spot side by side with him and Brandon Fetterplace there for a while. Got a single file pack up here with the first 7 cars, and then back in the back we have absolute chaos, but that's what we normally see. We'll see right here the 54 with a run on the 11 of Paul Gallimore.
Yeah, he is. The 54 trying to make that bottom work, and that's something we neglected to mention is, man, Tim Wortman Jr. looking down to the bottom here. Open setups really does change the effect of how you can run what lane and stuff, so those open setups definitely help. But that bottom side, the bottom line on any of these tracks has always been the best way to save tires. So if you're trying to save those tires, the bottom is the place to be. You're just going to give up, maybe track position, people get runs. And now, like you said, as the tires start to wear, it's going to be harder and harder to hold it down off of these exits. So the outside will likely become the most dominant line soon. But if you can make the bottom work with your setup, it's likely to be beneficial, especially on the long run. Give you an update on some drivers. Nigel Christensen was given an EOL penalty, Ryan Huff as well. And then Kenny Coppola had an issue and had to reconnect. So he is running all the way back by himself. Here he is, Kenny Coppola, a championship favorite and setup maker extraordinaire. Going to be way back from the field. He's going to be about 2.7 seconds, but 8 seconds back from the leader. So he's going to have a lot of work to do. But back up front, it is a big battle for the lead as now Brandon Fetterplace has gotten a nice little run here. But Paul Gallimore is the one that I got my eyeball on. He has been making moves here early. Chris Davis took the lead, but Gallimore has been making that outside line work. Just like you said, 2 laps in the books, that outside line comes alive.
Well, I love that paint scheme on Paul Gallimore. I love that yellow color. You talked about Kenny Coppola. Luckily, even though he had those internet connection problems, luckily he has a win. 7 of our drivers tonight have that safety of having that win, being able to be locked in. But the rest of them, they don't have that. They don't have that safety net that these other guys have. But luckily for Kenny Coppola, he's got that safety net.
Yeah, and, Tim Wortman Jr. is one of those drivers, man. I don't know why, but we've kind of taken a liking to him, and we want him to win, man. We talked to him one time in an interview, and, he said, man, at that point he had 83 races since his last win. And last week he had a really great opportunity, could not quite get it done. And tonight, look at him starting up at the front of the field, falling back to third, but he is trying to stay upside that top 5. If you're going to win these races, you got to be up there. And going to look down to the inside, though, going to allow Randy Mullins to get to his outside. So Wortman going to be kind of stuck on the bottom as that 54 now he's got that thing rolling on the outside. Wortman almost gets in the back of him as they kind of check up here.
And that 24, Nick King right on his bumper too. I got to tell you, it is so hard when you get stuck on that bottom because I found that the best place to make a pass was you had to get a great drive off of turn 2, get on the inside of somebody going into turn 3 and be able to clear them through the center of turn 3 and 4, because if you're not able to clear them through the center of 3 and 4, they're going to shoot back pass by you on that outside on the front straightaway. So if you get stuck on that bottom, you're going to lose it with momentum.
Well, you're seeing exactly that from Paul Gallimore. He went down to the inside of Chris Davis to try to take that lead, And now they're going to roll by him on the outside. He's having to check up. Now he's got Nick King, who's made up 8 spots since the start of the race, who is making that bottom work. Is they're going to be 3 wide down the front straightaway, and we're going to be 3 wide for second as Nick King looking down. No, he's going to fall back behind Randy Mullins. We're almost 3 wide here on lap 9.
All these front guys battling around side by side has let this pack catch up. We got about the top 15 here, all up in this groove. Wow, 3 wide here coming off of turn 2 with Nick King down to the bottom. 11 of Paul Gallimore's got a huge run to the back of Tim Wortman.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. This racing, you know, it's so tough to get competitors to. Is Nick King going to slide right up in front of Gallimore? Whoa, my goodness.
Crossover by Paul Gallimore, though.
Yeah, close move. Gallimore says no thank you, but I think Nick King has that preferred groove now. While that seemed like a good move for Gallimore, I think he might be in trouble. Is Nick King going to try to get to the outside? But Gallimore with a great run. Yeah, he almost tried to slide up in front of Nick King. Could not make it happen. Here comes Gallimore, though, trying to make it 3 wide for the lead.
Trying to make it 3 wide there on the bottom. Won't have the momentum there. Randy Mullins was sideways back in that 5th position there.
But Wortman
looking back along with Gallimore.
And Wortman takes the lead off of 4. Finally, the first person to challenge Chris Davis. And Tim Wortman back out front after leading the first lap. Or no, he didn't even lead the first lap. He lost it. And now he's going to retake the lead. And Chris Davis going to fall back to second.
I think Wortman was just kind of hanging out. Knew he could get the lead back, was just hanging out behind Chris Davis, hanging out behind in that 3rd position, just ready to take it back at any moment he wanted to.
Oh, looks like Johnny Shade down to the inside of the track, got loose off of 2. He is going to lose a ton of spots. Lost almost 15 spots. He's still loose. He's losing it down in the grass. Going to come back up out on the track, and that should bring out a caution. Yeah, and there it is. So first caution here on lap 12 is Johnny Shade goes around and just heated those tires up when he goes down in the corner and just loses it again. Let's go back, check that here on the replay and see what happened. There it is. I mean, he gets extremely
loose off of 2. Big loose off of 2. Looks like he catches it here, coming back into turn 3. See, something else must have happened with him getting loose, or maybe making some contact. Yeah, looks like he just gets loose again, gets on the apron, and that grass really screwed him up there. Luckily, no, he didn't make any contact with any other cars, but yeah, it looks like he got loose off of 2, saved it, and then got loose coming into 3 yet again. I told you, that bottom, it can get real slick after about 10 laps.
Yeah, and in this car in particular, if you get up there and you heat the rear tires up by getting loose like that, you have to basically back it down and say, hey, I'm going to chill for a while. If you're not careful, those rear tires are super heated at that point. You have to let them cool off, and it just seems like he goes down an awkward entry into 3, and it just was a recipe for disaster. So some cars coming down pit road. Chris Davis going to lead the charge. Sorry, go ahead,
I was going to say, got some guys pitting here. After about 12 laps. Got 6 sets here, so they can really play some strategy with this. You know, we got 100% fuel load here. These drivers can make it about 42 to 45 laps. Last night we had a 70%, and we can make it about 31 laps. So I'm gonna guesstimate a little bit with that number, but I'm gonna say these guys can make it pretty far on fuel here. So really only 3 required stops. So they'll have about a few good sets to play around with here, as we'll see some of our front pack runners coming into the pits.
Yeah, interesting decision, I think, to come down and give up that track position. You got to stage it at 30, and we're just halfway through that. So, I mean, it'll be a good, this will be a good, if you're trying to maybe get a strategy feeling out for the rest of the race, I mean, this is a good time to try and experiment, see how different 13-lap-old tires really feels. But it feels a little bit early. I'm not sure how comfortable I feel with this decision, especially to go back to the back of the track. I mean, we've already seen how difficult it is to pass, to go back to the back of the field. So I don't know if their plan is to ride around for a little bit, let it get to the stage, and then, just stay out under the stage maybe. That's definitely a possibility because, like you said, they could make it on fuel to the end of that stage. So maybe you just ride around, just coast, and then once the stage breaks over with, you come down, All right, you let the other guys come down, you take that track position back. So we'll see how that plays out. We'll see if they hang back or if they try to charge back up to the front. But either way, we're going to have some exciting racing from those guys because Randy Mullins, your points leader, all the way back to 26 at the moment.
Yeah, no doubt in my mind about that. The only one I'm really surprised about coming down there is Nick King. Unless he's playing a strategy where most of these guys are going to pit right before the stage end, he can cycle up back to that lead because Nick King, we know he's in 17th. He's the first out, 28 points behind Justin Belmont there. So I would think he would want as many stage points as possible here. So I imagine he's got to be thinking that everybody else is going to come to the pits before this stage end, because if not, and then no one else is coming, then he's going to lose out on all those stage points he could have gotten running up in third.
Yeah, he went down pit road, and he was only on pit road for 7 seconds. So it looks like he just got fuel. And you said you can make it how long on fuel?
I think about 42 to 45 there on 100% fuel load.
Okay. Well, yeah, for some reason, Nick King comes down, and I think 9 seconds is usually a two-tire stop. I don't know if he maybe had some damage or something like that, but yeah, he didn't even take tires. So interesting to see that happen. Kenny Coppola came down as well, and he was in his stall for just 2 seconds. So interesting stuff going on. We'll see how it all plays out as we get ready to get this thing back green here on lap 14, coming to lap 15 here in the RS Button Boxes 250 here in the OB Builders Cup Series of the Moonshiners Racing League on V-Speed here with Eddie and Scott Shaw. We're getting ready to go green, and boy, I cannot wait. The racing has been amazing so far. I can't imagine it gonna get any a little bit calmer. Not gonna happen. Tim Wortman control the restart. Green flag back out. Gets a great jump this time. He's got Alex Coffey pushing him down the front stretch. We haven't talked about Alex Coffey. He's up 7 positions. He is a championship favorite for sure. There's a bunch of those championship favorites, and he is definitely one of them. He can get up to the front. He can stay up front. And caution, though, back out on the speedway. It looks like Ed Bowles Jr. has gone around, and caution back out here on lap 15.
Gonna have to see how that happened there in that beautiful yellow car. Looking back at the restart here, hunting back in the back here with that number 38 of Ed Boyles Jr. here. Moves up to the outside. Oh, big crash up front, and that's what he got into. And yeah, whoa.
Yeah, it looks like maybe the 79 of Shane Davis had some sort of issue on that restart. Maybe spun his tire. We'll go back and see. Maybe we can kind of highlight what happened
multiple angles of that. Not sure. Whoa. Looks like somebody might have missed a shift up front.
Yeah, it does. I don't know who the heck that is.
It looks like who was ever in front of that.
Oh, it's Barry Sanders.
Oh.
Yeah, let's go on board Barry Sanders.
Yeah, see if he missed a shift here. Getting in the red there. Yeah, missed the shift right there. Still in second gear for Barry Sanders there. And that checks up a lot of that outside line and caused a lot of our chaos there that eventually got Ed Boyles and a lot of those other cars spun around.
And, man, I tell you what, you hate when that happens. I mean, it happens. I mean, we have controller issues and things happen all the time. And sometimes you click your shifter, and sometimes it shifts. I had a shifter one time that you would shift down, and it would go from fourth to second. That's a bad thing to have happen. But when that happens,
it wouldn't be good pitting on pit road.
No, not at all. And it's frustrating when that happens because you get so you're kind of the cause of the accident, and man, that kind of you hate to be that, and you hate to have that happen. But sometimes it's not your fault. I mean, your equipment sometimes just doesn't work like it's supposed to, and it happens. So for Barry, not happy about that, but he's going to come down pit road, obviously get some damage fixed, 4 tires and fuel, get back out there, but. I mean, for the most part, Scott, I think that could have been way worse than it ended up being. I mean, I know that there's a few drivers who, Shane Davis being one of them, that probably doesn't feel that way. But, man, that really could have been a big pile up there.
Oh, it could have been so much worse there. I don't believe we have any fast repairs here tonight. So, if you get in the wall, you've got to sit on pit road for all that damage time. And These cars, like tonight we talked about, you don't want any damage at all because this place is so aero dependent, like we've already seen through our first 17 laps here. And like we've talked about tonight, if you get any damage at all, you are going to be absolutely, some would say, cooked for the night because you're going to need all of the aero you can with how important it is for drafting in this track.
Yeah, you're gonna be like Johnny Shade's rear tires a few cautions ago. Yeah, I mean, that was unfortunate. That was an unfortunate restart. I imagine we'll get it cleaned up here as we get close to the end of this stage. Yeah, I mean, we've seen some really good racing so far. I think, looking at Randy Mullins, he's up to 18th, so not quite sure if he's saving or just kind of a beneficiary of that that missed shift, but. A few guys coming down pit road, like you said, getting damage fixed. Warren Young, Ed Bowles Jr., Shane Davis still on pit road. Jameson Middlemiss, who is one of those guys outside of the playoffs, trying to get in. He's got damage that's going to be pretty detrimental to his bid to try to get in the top 16. So tough nights already for some folks, and how quickly it can happen. Daytona, Talladega are kind of, in Atlanta now, are kind of known for just carnage. But the way these cars drive and on iRacing, everybody's so close. In real life, you've got the Gibbs, you've got the Hendricks that have much better equipment. Cars are a lot faster. You can find some separation. While this is open setup, everybody's cars are the same, and a lot of these guys are using the exact same setup. So, this racing gets really, really close. Very packed racing. If we can get some long runs, it'll kind of spread out a little bit. But the way the draft works, using that outside line for momentum, I mean, it has a recipe to keep these guys bunched up for a while. So I think we're going to see exciting racing all the way throughout as we get ready to go back green here. Tim Wortman Jr. got the lead. Alex Coffey pushed him out there early. Now Alex is looking at Brandon Fetterplay saying, hey, bud, go and give me a little shove. Let's see if we can get this lead. Coming off of turn 4, pace car pulls off. Getting ready to get this thing back green as we'll have just 12 laps to go in this stage. Who's going to win it? Get those all-important stage points and those stage wins. Tim Wortman, green flag is out. Not a great jump for Alex Coffey. He's going to lose a couple spots, but Gallimore got a great jump. He's looking, trying to get the run on the outside of Caden Norfrey in that green car down on the bottom.
Well, Paul Gallimore just right behind Tim Wortman, trying to create a draft here, running into 3 to maybe take that lead. Will he do anything? No, he'll follow right behind Wortman, and then right behind him, Alex Coffey in 3rd.
Side by side, back through the field. Justin Belmont going to turn right in front of Fetterplace. They make contact. Everybody going all around trying to avoid them. They save it.
Falling back and back through the field.
Yeah, he is hurt. He took the brunt of that, and he is falling through the field. Fetterplace. But a great job by everybody to not have any issue and not wad it up there. But everybody kind of scattering. Man, they're 4 wide back here in the back.
Well, they're all trying to still get around Fetterplace, figure out all that jostling and what happened. Fetterplace now back down all the way in 22nd. He was up in the top 5, and now he's all the way back there. So we got 3 wide, 2 rows back here in the mid-pack.
Yeah, you've got Brandon Bikey, Randy Mullins there, kind of splitting the difference of Ryan Huff as they battle back here. The guys got fresh tires, trying to move forward or just trying to survive. One of the two, I don't know. But you see Brandon Bikey all the way up against the wall as he's trying to get those runs off the corner. And Randy Mullins, much better from the bottom. But see the run that Bikey's going to get here. But we'll see if he does anything with it.
And 2 wide in front of him. Not sure what he can do, but follow right in behind of Randy Mullins. But no one better to follow than your points leader of Randy Mullins. Follow him through this field as that 27 of Bikey as we ride along. Just get a great view of what these drivers see when they're driving in these close pack racing. Guys on the outside, huge momentum as he swings right by the 2 of Darren Mills.
Yeah, and it's really talked about ad nauseum in real life about side draft. But man, in iRacing, the side draft is very much modeled, very simple. I mean, almost just like real life. You can manipulate that, and it works exactly the same. Like right there when Bikey gets to that left rear, of Darren Mills, it almost just kind of yanks Mills back more than it pushes Bikey forward. So if you know how to manipulate that and you understand what's going to happen here, you're able to get your car in position, pull guys back, and try to time it to the point where you pull them back, but they're not able to do the same to you. So the way the draft works here on iRacing is very similar to the next gen in real life. So if you can work that, make that work to your advantage, you can make a lot of moves here, try to get up to the front. As, man, there's guys getting loose. Whew.
It's a huge asset to what we saw. And what I want to look at real quick is Tim Wortman back up at the front real quick. Huge lead, almost a half a second over Alex Coffey now.
And I think it's just because what we're talking about, exactly what we're talking about, which is those guys have been battling side by side and kind of slowing each other up. And if you're Alex Coffey, Blaine Wilson, and Gallimore, you kind of have to have like this understanding. You're seeing what's happening. You're seeing he's pulling away, and you kind of go, okay, I could use this run and go around him, but hey, let's just ride in line. Let's try to use the draft and try to run him back down, because the more we stay side by side, the more he's just smiling from ear to ear. He's going to take the stage without any kind of competition.
You know, speaking of someone you just said, Blaine Wilson, that 18 car, sitting in 14th in the points. You know, that's not too well. It's 124 plus to the cut line, but still 14th is not a beautiful position. If he could finish here in 5 laps for this stage win, or second place in the stage or third place, he would have a great stack of points here, just earning off of today.
Yeah, started 25th, man. Just incredible drive to the front. I mean, he is very, very aggressive. He is definitely capable of race wins. He just gets caught up in stuff. It's mid to late race. He needs just to put, if he can put not all of it's his fault, but if he can put a race together, he has definitely got race winning speed. His team, CNC Motorsports, I mean, Dig, I think is what it is here. They can definitely, but it looks like they're going to battle it out. So much for working together and trying to run down Tim Wortman. You can see, look how quickly it becomes a pack as soon as they get side by side.
Well, and look who's back. The 74 of Chris Davis and that 54 of Randy Mullins back up into your top 5.
Man, did not take them long. We wondered what their strategy was going to be. But it looks like they're just going to lock bumpers and just go to the front. And that's a pretty good strategy if I... Oh, is he going to get a bump from Gallimore? Gallimore says, excuse me, I don't like that. And gives him a little shove. He gets loose. Man, almost calamity there.
Wow, big save there by Randy Mullins. Got him real slow up into the corner. That definitely hurt the 11 of Gallimore a little bit more than it did the 54 of Chris Mullins there. Gallimore back to 6th now.
Yeah, and now the lead is under... he's in danger. Tim Wortman has got the lead, but Davis being able to get clear. Now Randy Mullins, they have those fresher tires, so they have the tire advantage, about 13 laps. And I'm going to tell you right now, Davis is coming. He has cut that lead down quickly. As you can see, look at the run. He's going to get off the corner. I don't think Tim Wortman's going to be able to defend against this. He has got a really big run.
I don't think so at all. He'll send it down to the inside here to see what he can take. Chris Davis, can he take the lead into 1 and 2? Slide up in front of Tim Wortman. No, they're still side by side. Will he edge ahead? Yes, he'll slide up in front of that 83. Chris Davis to the lead.
Yeah, textbook pass. That's exactly what you want to do. And Randy Mullins saying, I'm going to take advantage of this. We wondered if they were going to kind of hang around and wait, but no, they knew exactly what they were doing. Those new tires made all the difference, able to drive from all the way back in the mid-20s to take the lead and get those all-important stage points and likely a stage win. And right now, with just 2 laps in this stage, it is a 3-car battle for that. And I think Tim Wortman's just going to be hanging on. These 2 Ram drivers are going to be hopefully they'll be fighting it out. We'll see if they're willing to work together or try to battle it out for the stage win.
Well, we talked about it. Drivers that are safe. Randy Mullins is one of them. But Chris Davis, he sits 11th in points. Now, while he's 242 to the cut line, still not locked in with a win. So if he could win here today, at least this stage for now, that'd be a huge points game. But right now, Randy Mullins, the 54, on his inside, doesn't want to give him the stage win.
Yeah, I thought for sure Randy Mullins would just kind of push him to the stage win. But that shows what I know. These guys are here to have fun. They set aside this time to race, and they want to win, regardless of team affiliation. And there's no better thing, as far as your team goes, than have both drivers with Ram on your hood up there battling for a stage win while everybody else fights for what's left. So they're pulling away from Tim Wortman, running side by side. So you might as well. Chris Davis drives down on the door of Randy Mullins, trying to pinch him down. Don't give him the exit. You're going to see Randy going to have to slide up on exit of these corners. You want to use the whole track, but when you got somebody on the outside, you can't do it. And that's why that outside line has the momentum. They'll cross the line, waiting for top 10, and I think Chris Davis should get it, and he does. Chris Davis is going to be your stage winner here in stage number 1 with a great call to take those 4 tires, drive up through the front, and with his teammate Randy Mullins, takes the stage win.
Well, it takes a stage win. Randy Mullins pitted right behind him. That 83 of Tim Wortman comes up third in the stage. Didn't pit earlier, so that's going to leave him third in the stage, but with an extra set that some of these drivers out there don't have.
Yeah, we see a lot of times the strategy that folks employ is, I'm going to save a set for a late green, white checkered. And, a lot of times what happens, these guys leave sets of tires in the pits and, you don't get a refund for those. They just sit there and they don't get used, Scott. So these guys taking a more aggressive approach, saying, hey, we're going to be aggressive here. We're going to use a set of tires early and bank on the fact that, hey, we're not going to run out. So I thought I kind of disagreed with the call. I was proven wrong, which happens often.
Hey, look, you've got a little bit more expertise than you thought there. But Chris Davis coming up. Another driver I want to highlight, Blaine Wilson, like we were talking about earlier, finishes 5th in the stage. That'll be great points for his effort. Again, down in 14th in our points position. Another driver I'm looking at, Justin Belmonte, finishes in 7th there with that stage. He's right on that cut line, the first driver in. So there'll be great points for him as well. And look, in 11th, Kenny Coppola. He disconnected and was almost a lap down, finished 11th in the stage.
Yeah, well, no surprise. I mean, honestly, he is one of the better drivers. It does not surprise me. And he makes all the setups that a lot of these guys drive.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
if anybody's going to be good at it, he's got to be. He puts a good piece. He was injured, actually had an injury, missed a few races through the middle of the season. So, I would imagine once the playoffs start, Kenny Coppola is going to be a monster during the playoffs. I'm expecting him. He's had multiple races. Look at him. He's going to go to the bathroom or do something during pit road. He's getting 4 tires of fuel. Look at him. He's leaving his seat. Let's watch. I'm going to stay right here. What's going on, Scott?
I was going to say, what can he do? He's got the right sides on. Now the left sides are going up. He's got only a few seconds to get back to his seat to get out there. His car's still up in the air, jacked right here. I think he's down and ready to go. I think everybody's going past him.
Hey, maybe it was a Code Brown moment. I've been in those. I've been in those situations before.
Hey, it could be, but you know what? It also could be. He could have gotten some damage somewhere. Might have some damage clock there that we quite can't see. But it looks like on his iRacing screen, it looks like he's ready to drop to first gear.
Yeah, he had something he had to go take care of, and so I don't see any damage. So. We'll talk to him about that, but I'll tell you what we need to do. We need to get here and talk to Chris Davis and get him up into the booth and talk to him about his stage win. Chris Davis, we don't mean to interrupt you, but we appreciate you talking to us, man. Congratulations on the stage win. You're able to get get those 4 tires, drive up through the field. Those Ram cars look pretty fast here tonight.
Yeah, I need stage points, so I went in and pitted and took some tires just to make sure I get that valuable playoff point for the stage win. But man, Randy wasn't taking it easy on me. But that was a ton of fun. Hopefully, it looked good on the broadcast, being able to rub doors down the backstretch, and I pinched him a little hard there in 3 and 4, but it's all in good fun.
Well, we've seen you get aggressive. We saw you there on lap 1 taking it 3 wide. I mean, sometimes you just have to surprise them, and you definitely did that. Jumped over there, took the lead early. It seemed like you kind of setting the tone for tonight, saying you're not here to play around.
Yeah, I kind of have to this week. I've ran a lot of races, got a lot of practice in, feel real good about the car. So I told all the teammates, I was like, man, I gotta go for it this week. I kind of a little too pacifist on most races, but really wasn't one to go 3 wide at the beginning. but the door opened up and the car was rolling real good, so I had to take it.
Yeah, I mean, if you put a plate of barbecue in front of my face, I'm going to eat it. And that's exactly what happened on lap one. Well, Chris, congratulations on the stage win. Good luck out there for the rest of the race. Maybe we'll be talking to you at the end of this thing.
I appreciate it, guys.
Well, there you have it. There is Chris Davis, your stage winner, as he has a great run up through the field, and he is seemed like everything is good to go. A little bit, Ram Motorsports having multiple manufacturers there. Chris in the Toyota and Randy Mullins in the Chevy. So interesting there. Getting ready to go green, Scott. What are we expecting here at the start of stage 2?
Well, I'm expecting always hard racing here for these guys as the pace car pulls down to pit lane. I'm just expecting some wild stuff here heading into turn 1. It always is heading into turn 1 with these guys. Big momentum as we'll take the green here.
Yeah, great start for Chris Davis. This stage going to be shorter than the previous stages. Oh, my goodness. Somebody's spinning back here. It looks like Ed Bowles Jr. Caution going to come out as he exits immediately and toes back to the the pace car driver didn't even get a chance. He's right back out on the look at him. Dang, pace car driver back out on the track. Didn't even get to stop to go to the bathroom. He's going to have to hold it for a little bit longer as, frustrating night for Ed Bowles as he's back on pit road. Let's see if we can go back and find out what happened.
Well, I'm not sure what happened to my excitement into turn 1. My excitement was actually exiting turn 4.
Oh, looks like a big stack up. Yeah.
Oh,
tough deal.
And he's going to lose that bumper. We saw that toe. Just watching this stack up here, we'll ride along with Ed Boyles Jr. Just riding along. These are the cars that waved around, so they're single file in that bottom lane, gearing up into third. And man, checks up and nothing he could have done there.
Well, and just to kind of highlight when somebody's like, well, why didn't he just check up? Look at what he's looking at. We'll kind of slow it down right here. His eyeballs, and I'm going to actually give you a little bit of inside baseball. Look here. We got a mouse right here I can circle. This is what he is watching. He's watching the guys go through the Geico restart zone there. And so that's what he sees, but he can't see the cars straight in front of him other than Johnny Shade. And so he's watching those guys, and they're getting on the gas. Green flag comes out. He just can't see it.
The minute he gets to third, those guys just stop. And you're in third gear already. You are moving.
Yeah, so, it's easy to kind of say, oh, arc a brake or, whatever. It is just so difficult when those, like, accordion stack-ups happen. And you could see it was very light. I mean, everybody just kind of checked up at just the right moment. You can see the 34 Fetter Place is kind of where it starts. As you see, he has a big gap to Ryan Huff, and then once he checks up, it just unfortunately for Ed Bowles, he just gets the worst end of it.
He really did, and now he's missing that front end, so he's either gonna have to spend time on pit road repairing that, because without that front end, if you are not directly behind someone, you are gonna lose the draft so fast.
Yeah, we've seen the last couple races, we've seen where on iRacing at least, the bumper falls off. They go down pit road to get all their damage fixed, and the bumper actually gets magically put back on like we're Indy or F1,
Well, it's always interesting because instead of normally denting, the bumper will just kind of like, whoop, oh, I'm gone. It just flies away.
I saw a very funny video of a truck series that we cover where a driver under caution was just messing with a guy that was in front of him and goes up and bumps his bumper a couple times, and the bumper just falls off, just falls straight down and just falls away.
You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of the truck series race at Coda, where that car's rear end housing just came right up out from under him in turn 12.
iRace's damage model has gotten a lot of improvements over the years.
It really has. It's just poking fun at it.
Yeah, and it's really good. I mean, it's honestly way better than it used to be. I remember the trucks, you could hit the right rear of the truck and blow the motor. There's been some odd things, but every once in a while it kind of has a little graphical glitch or things just kind of act wonky, and you'll end up with some wild results. But talking about results, right now, Chris Davis, Randy Mullins, they're doing exactly what they need to do. We'd love to see a little long run here, but it's just been it's tough. I mean, you're asking 30 drivers with these big runs not to take them, to calm down, and we only have a little bit over 20 laps to go in this stage. So I think once we get past stage 2, I think we'll see it kind of calm down a little bit. But I mean, right now, if you're looking at big stories of the race, Blaine Wilson up 21 spots from where he started. Justin Belmont up 15. Aaron Matthews up 17 spots. Brandon Bikey, of course, up 13. A lot of guys on the move. And then you got Brandon Fetterplace, who's down 23 spots. Warren Young, Ed Bowles, Johnny Shade, those guys with big issues. Nick King, who was up here at the front fighting in the top 5, now at the back. So playoffs just keep, I mean, if we had live points, we'd be all over the place. So if you're one of those drivers who needs a win, needs to be in a good position like Justin Belmont, you're doing exactly what you need to do. Blaine Wilson, put yourself in the top 5, stay there, and be there when it counts.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, okay. Well, don't say it then. Getting ready to go back green. Hopefully we'll see a little green flag racing to the end, but man, I don't know. It's going to be tough. We'll see. These two teammates going to be side by side. We'll see if they continue to battle, if they try to work together here to pull away from the pack. I think good teammates can make a whole lot of difference here. Chris Davis gets back on the throttle, but Tim Wortman times it perfectly as they've got a good restart so far as they're side by side for second place.
Fresh tires on almost all of our cars here. We'll see if Tim Wortman can make the bottom work here on the inside of Randy Mullins. Still side by side. Big run from Blaine Wilson on the outside.
Yeah, he thought about trying to make a move there. Randy Mullins covered it. You can see the run that he gets at the end of the straightaway. Has to lift just a little bit. Almost going to make a little bit of contact as I can't decide where they want to go. But look at him, almost 4 wide through 3 and 4.
Back there in the pack, it gets all crazy there. Movement all around the straightaways. Blocking Tim Wortman almost sideways, blocking the 6.
Yeah, what's so tough about this racing is that you want to lift. You want to get the run, and you want to lift because you know you need to stay in line. And look at Justin Belmont trying to make it 3 wide there, backs out of it. But what I was going to say is if you have to lift or you check up just a little bit, look at all the cars that will be right on you making moves if you have to lift at all. So it's almost like you want to stay in line, but the racing itself, the way the cars are handling, it's almost like it kind of determines that you can't lift. You got to take every move. You got to run into the back of the guy in front of you because if you lift at all, those guys are going to gobble you up from behind. But look at this. 2 trains now going down the front straightaway.
Momentum is huge here, a key factor in staying up front, staying in line for this track. You're right, if they have to dive to the bottom, they will do it to keep up their momentum. Door to door, the 18 and the 54 battling for second.
You talked about it. Those new tires are good for a few laps, but you see the 54 really wanted to get up to that high side. It's now, once you get a few laps into the run and the tires get heated up, that outside line becomes a little bit better. And you can see, looks like Gallimore is staying. Oh, we got 3 wide for the lead. My goodness, Blaine Wilson looks down to the inside. He is going to take the lead, and he'll definitely take the spot away from Randy Mullins. We'll see if he can get the top spot as here comes Wortman down to the inside.
54 of Randy Mullins not going to give the 18 a push there, not going to push Blaine Wilson in front of his teammate Chris Davis. Looked like Chris Davis didn't have a great 3 and 4, didn't get the good momentum off the corner he needed. That allowed run. Big run by Alex Coffey down the inside. 3 wide for 5th.
Yeah, man, look at that move. Randy Mullins, Randy playing very safe. And what a great big brain decision by him to go ahead and just let that happen and not get himself caught in a bad spot. But look at Blaine Wilson. Comes across the start-finish line. Doesn't lead that lap. Is a big push. Paul Gallimore pushed Chris Davis out front as Blaine loses that drafting help. And you can see how big a deal that drafting was as Blaine's going to fall back to 3rd.
You'll see if he can try to slide here in between the 11 of that Paul Gallimore there. No, he'll stay down on the inside, battling for 2nd here. We'll see the 83 of Tim Wortman now down in 10th, having stayed in that bottom lane. So falling to the field, Randy Mullins now down in 8th.
Yeah, and we are still 3, 4 wide at some points. Just all these guys taking every momentum that they can get, trying to make moves. And, you know, it's easy to get up to the front. You can use the draft, make moves, get up to the front. But once you get up front, it is way difficult to make the passes, decide what lanes to go into. One mistake, you end up 10th place before you know it. And Blaine Wilson there gets a great run off of the corner, going to get that 2nd spot. But you can see that outside line starting to form up as You can see Jordan Schmeat starting to fall back quickly without any help. He's going to dive into the wall. My goodness. Whoa. Schmeat's trying to get up to that outside line. That's how important it is to not be stuck there on the bottom without any help. He drives it into the wall trying to keep it on the top side. He's going to lose a ton of spots there as Blaine Wilson bangs doors with Chris Davis for the lead.
Still side by side, Paul Gallimore giving some help to that 74 car. Then we got 4 cars on the top in line. The 6 of Justin Belmont trying to make a move on that beautiful bright yellow 11 car of Paul Gallimore.
Right, yeah, look at Belmont. Look at Matthews.
Out.
Oh, caution. Out on the speedway. Looks like Hunter Carmichael slow on the track. So not sure what happened to 3. One of the best looking cars on the track, in my opinion, has had some sort of issue. I don't know if, I think it was just him. Let's go back and see what happened to Hunter here.
Take a look on our V-Speed instant replay back here in the back. Looking along with lap 46 there, the 3 of Hunter Carmichael just riding along through turn 2, right in the middle lane. Coming off of 2, looks like Nick King right in front of him. Maybe gets a little bit loose. Oh, contact from the 20.
Yeah, the 20 of Caden Orfrey, and we've seen that 100 times over, and that's just racing. I mean, we've seen that so many times. We'll go on board with Caden Orfrey and kind of show what happened there. But the 24 gets a little bit loose here. When he does, you can see Hunter Carmichael trying to take that lower line to, and we'll actually go on board with him to kind of showcase this. But you can see Nick King going to lose it and pull up in front of him. He's going to try to dive down to the inside. He's really hoping that Caden gives him that extra room, but Caden was coming up, and when that happens, that just sends the 3 around, and he didn't actually get any damage there. So caution came out, but he didn't hit a thing. So pretty good there for Hunter Carmichael.
Yeah, I think Hunter there was hoping since the 20 of Caden was on the bottom that he would lose the momentum. Maybe he would have been able to clear him on the top while trying to get a run on Nick King there to clear them both. But Caden just got a better run off the corner than I believe Hunter expected.
Well, Caden Orfrey going to come down pit road along with Matt Cox and Ryan Huff, Nicholas Atwood, all these drivers coming down. I would imagine going to try the flip the stage. I mean, with just 13 laps to go. I don't know. We saw those. I don't know if this. I don't know how much I like this call. You know, I said that might be happening.
I was just saying, you said that last time.
Yeah, and flipping the stage, it doesn't seem like it'd be a great idea after 13 laps. So, looks like everybody is coming down and getting 4 tires. Nicholas Atwood took maybe just fuel only, where everybody else took 4 tires. So, they may just be trying the same strategy. Let's drive up to the front. Let's get us some stage points and set ourselves up for a great starting position for the final stage, as we've just got 13 laps to go before this thing is moving into that final stage. So, well, it's been an exciting race, and there's a lot. We could click anywhere and find battles. It's almost like racing, driving around in a tornado. It's like you're a storm chaser. You're following the storm wherever it goes. You're going to have to be in it. You can't watch from a distance. You got to be in it. You got to be, you got to be driving Dorothy up in there and letting the Pepsi can little sensors fly off into the tornado. You got to be in it. You can't wait in the back like you do at maybe Talladega, Daytona.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah, so you have to be up in it if you're gonna win this thing. So how do you manage that, Scott? What on your experience from a race last night here? How do you manage getting up to the front and staying up there, but also knowing that it's going to be constant attack from behind?
You make a great point. You said it exactly right. You have to stay in it here. It's not like Talladega or Daytona where you can sit in the back, the pack is going to wreck, or you can get in line and make big moves up to the front. This pack, it is hard to pass. We've been seeing a lot where people will dive in on the bottom, they don't have the momentum, and they fall back on that inside. So it really is tricky to make passes, and because of that, track position is so important here. Talking about staying up front, personally, from my experience last night, I was in the mid-pack all night, so I wouldn't know about getting to the front. But what I can tell you from an analysis standpoint is that you have to stay on the top lane. From where we are now, it's more important to stay in the top than try to risk it on the bottom. If you're running top 10, I would say at this point in the race, stay safe, stay on the top. If you get a big run, absolutely take it. But if you're unsure, stay in the top, because if you get in the bottom, like we said, and aren't able to clear them off the corner, well, you're going back.
Yeah, great point. Great point. Even if you lose a couple spots, maybe it's better to just stay up there. Make sure you don't get stuck down on the bottom. We've seen a couple drivers like Jordan Schmitz get stuck down there and just take evasive action, almost to run it into the wall, trying to get up to the top side. So I think you're spot on for that. Getting ready to go green here. Chris Davis, Blaine Wilson, your front row. Chris Davis going to have control of this restart, as we're only going to have just 11 laps to go before stage number 2 is in the books. Can Chris Davis get both stages here tonight? Gets a great restart there. He's on his way. We'll see if he can hold off these hard-charging cars behind him.
Going to be a short one for these cars. Chris Davis on the top, followed by the 11 of Paul Gallimore, and then young money Blaine Wilson running up top, running up here at the front. Like you said, can really, 6 gets into the wall a little bit. Him side by side with Alex Coffey here. Big push by Blaine Wilson to the 11 of Paul Gallimore.
Yeah, he gave him a big shove, and I bet he was hoping that Gallimore would take the bait and go around him so he could take that spot, but he did not do that. But he opened the door. Aaron Matthews trying to get that momentum up on the outside, just could not get to the right rear quarter of Blaine Wilson. So Blaine kind of looking down to the inside, deciding this chess match just starting with 10 laps to go in this stage. You don't want to put yourself in a bad spot by making a wild move unless you're sure you can take it. But you can see Aaron Matthews up there on the top side, trying to sneak up there, trying to make that outside work. But, man, it is closing down on them fast, because here, once they all get wound up, those runs get going, you have to check up just a little bit. Here comes everybody else.
Big shove from the 6 of Belmont there to the 5 of Aaron Matthews. Aaron Matthews and Brandon Wilson beside each other in the playoff standings, and beside each other out on track, both up 20-plus positions from the start of this race here, running in 3rd and 4th.
Belmont, Alex Coffey lazily runs up into the top line, but Belmont was there. And, boy, that was almost disaster. Any other league, that is a big old wreck. And so great job by Belmont to avoid that. But that was almost a really bad wreck, as just another example of trying to get to that outside line. Coffey doing whatever he can to make that happen. And you can see there comes Tim Wortman Jr. through the middle, as Bikey going to come down, and he is 3 wide with Nick King and Justin Belmont as they go down the straightaway. Who's going to come out on top? Looks like Belmont's going to have the run at the end of the straightaway, but they're 3 wide behind them. That's Jordan Schmitz on the outside. These guys are getting crazy up here.
Jordan Schmitz right up near the wall, doesn't want to have an incident like he did last time. Gets a good run here off the corner on the outside. Will have big momentum down into 3 and 4, running up to the back of Nick King to give him a shove.
Yeah, gives him a shove. Nick King using that. It seems like the top side in 3 and 4 not as good as the top side in 1 and 2. And you can see Jordan Schmitz not quite getting the run through the middle exit that he was off of 1 and 2. That middle line seems really good in 3 and 4. But Jordan Schmitz going to set up for another topside run, I would imagine. That worked so good for him last time. We'll see what he does. Yeah, right up to that top line. Keeps it wound up. The 24 may have to check up, but Schmitz going where they ain't. That's a good place to be.
If you're in the mid-pack like this, the goal, do something different, and that is going to get you up to the front, or it's going to get you wrecked. Right now, he's doing pretty good with it, running back there in the mid-pack, trying to battle this back. Tim Wortman down, still on the bottom, still battling Justin Belmont.
My goodness. These guys are racing their guts out. And right now, Chris Davis, though, continues to hold the lead as they're kind of single file for the top 5. You got Alex Coffey down in this. Ooh, it looks like Belmont, Nick King, and Wortman again, 3 wide. Wortman going to try to slide up in front of the 24, but yeah, not quite there just yet.
Nick King couldn't quite make the crossover there on Tim Wortman. Going to lose the spot to Jordan Schmitz. Jordan Schmitz now up into 9th.
Yeah, wild and crazy racing, and I think I'm aware that the stream not having a great time right now. We'll see if we can't rectify that, see what's going on. So if there's a little bit of stutter in the stream, I do apologize. It may just be an internet thing, I'm not sure, but we'll keep the action going here as we've just got 5 laps to go in this stage. Chris Davis with the lead, and he has got Gallimore pushing him with Blaine Wilson as they continue to pull away from this pack as those guys continue to run side by side.
Still single file up here for your top 5 positions. Then back there, it is chaos like we've talked about all night. 2 and 3 wide here in the back. Jordan Schmeet's going for it on the inside. 3 wide for 5th.
Yeah, Wortman's still down there on the bottom trying to make that work, but it's just not working like he needs it to. Just not able to make any. He can get alongside folks, but those runs off the outside are just too strong. They come off the corner. Mikey now down to the inside of Aaron Matthews. Going to sneak up right in front of Alex Coffey and take over that spot. Now he's going to drive down to the corner, but man, look at Coffey. Had the same idea. They're going to door bang side by side in 3 and 4. Aaron Matthews saying, excuse me, I'm not part of this. My name's Wes. I'm not in this mess. And he is going to try to pull away from those two, as that could have been disastrous if they were 2 worse drivers there. But those guys, top notch, able to make it work.
And look at all this. All these guys shuffling around, trying to go down to the bottom, going to the outside, trying to move all around. And here we are, Jordan Schmeet's riding steady on the outside, now up into 7th. He hasn't moved at all with his line, but he's moved up in position.
Yeah, those guys, Mikey trying to continue to make his way towards the front as we just got 3 laps into this race. And 3 laps left in this stage, excuse me. And Brandon Bikey now side by side with Blaine Wilson. And look how it slowed them both up. Aaron Matthews, big run.
Justin Belmont, big contact with the 24 of Nick King. More contact with Alex Coffey.
Yeah, this is getting wild here. This is just a stage win, guys. Relax, but that's how hard these guys are going to race in this series. Oh, somebody went down to the – oh, that's Kenny Coppola. And Barry Sanders goes around. Caution is out. I'm trying to click on him, but they keep sliding down the running order. And, excuse me, Barry Sanders, Kenny Coppola make contact. And that will bring out the caution and likely be the stage break. Let's take a look at that.
I believe so. V-Speed instant replay here back in the mid-pack.
4 wide
Let's
almost.
see what happened there. 4 wide almost off of turn 2. Oh, just looks like some miscommunication there with who was clear and who wasn't off of turn 2.
They go on board with Kenny Coppola as to kind of see what happened, and you can see they're just leaning on each other. Yeah, I don't know if Barry may have just he was probably watching who was in front of him and just couldn't see that maybe Kenny Coppola was still there. Big run from Matt Cox on the outside, and I think Barry was just so focused on Cox there and just kind of forgot that he was there.
Yeah, I did, just forgot that Coppola might have been down there. He had a good run off of turn 2 because 88 of Barry Sanders was compromised off of turn 2 there with Cox on his outside. So that hurt both of their runs and allowed Coppola to get a good one on the bottom to make it 3 wide.
Well, all right, well, that will be the stage. So pit stops now for the final stage. This is the most important. You don't want to slide through your box. You want to get all that you can right here and try to get out with that lead. If you're Chris Davis, he wants to stay up front. So far, his strategy of getting as many stage points as he could is working out.
Working out really well here. Didn't miss his box at all there, Chris Davis. Good stop here. Well, imagine we're going 4 tires on everybody. Gonna see who is making that call today. Yep, 4 tires is what it's looking like. Want to make this fast stop and get out the box. Chris Davis will leave with the lead, but Brandon Bikey is gonna take second.
Yeah, coming out of pit road, Bikey comes away with that second spot as Paul Gallimore going to come out in 4th, Blaine Wilson in 3rd.
Gallimore lost 2 positions there, Eddie.
Yeah. Yeah, and it just slow on pit lane, but, I mean, his pit stop was the fastest out of all of them. So interesting. Just kind of maybe slid through his box. I'm not real sure, but, yeah, not a great pit stop there for him. He's going to lose a couple spots. But we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back, and we will continue this coverage in just a minute. All right, we are back at the RS Button Boxes 250. I do understand that the stream is cutting in and out. Must be having some sort of internet issues on my end. If I could do anything about it, I would do. I would do it 100%. So we'll just deal with it. That's what we have to do. The show must go on. So we'll give you the best that we can. So we do apologize for the stream, but sometimes just can't help what's going on outside the house. So we'll keep it going. But getting ready to go green here. Chris Davis has won both stages so far, and now we get ready to go green for the final stage. Just almost halfway as across the line, and we've got about 62 laps left in this race, Scott. It's going to be a exciting race to the finish, it seems like.
About halfway here, if we can keep it green, this is an opportunity where we might see our first green flag pit stops, and that's going to come with its whole set of challenges. So we're going to see a lot of stuff here that we haven't in the second half that we didn't see in the first half.
All right, green flag is out. Brandon Bikey with a not a great restart, but he is going to get kind of paired up with his teammate Paul Gallimore, as Blaine Wilson or Jordan Schmeets, is also pushing on that outside line. So they will be able to build up some momentum probably pretty quickly. So we'll see if they can get that done. Bikey, though, side by side with Blaine Wilson. Blaine trying to use that bottom to clear him, but not quite able to do it. Bikey will get a massive run, and Brandon Bikey now moves himself up into the lead battle here.
Wow, he'll give Chris Davis a shove into turn 3 here. Now Blaine Wilson back on the inside trying to take second away. If we get side by side like this, Chris Davis is going to run away.
Chris Davis getting away, but they're getting those momentum. That momentum built up as cars get kind of packed together. And then Nick King takes the run down to the inside. Got to make it 3 wide here. And Blaine Wilson in the middle. He's going to jump up in front of Gallimore and make it 2 wide. Said, I'm getting out of this middle section. I'm getting up to the top line. And you can see how quickly that top line
Jordan
gets.
Schmeets in the wall a little bit.
Makes a little bit of contact with the wall right in front of Justin Belmont. All these guys fighting for these playoff positions. They have to be aggressive, but they also have to be a little bit nervous as well. Have to be a little bit cautious. Try to make it to the end. Oh, as Nick King makes contact with Paul Gallimore.
A few instances with Nick King and Paul Gallimore there down the front straightaway. 3 wide for third position now. Nick King absolutely sending it on the bottom.
Nick King all alone down on the bottom trying to find some space, but that outside line just too strong as he's now no help. Waiting on the 83 to maybe get up there and give him a push. He does drive really good through the middle of 3 and 4, but the run, he just won't have it. He does get even, though, with Brandon Bikey. So the bottom in 3 and 4 seems like it's pretty good, but you see now the runs are starting to pick up, and now he's going to lose a couple spots. So Nick King just trying to hold steady here on the bottom. Oh, 4 wide.
Jordan Schmeets gets a little loose on the top there. Then we got Justin Belmont, Brandon Fetterplace, and Aaron Matthews right behind them, all stacked up 3 and 4 wide.
Man, this has been incredible racing, and nobody is willing to just ride. And we love that at the broadcast booth for sure. The guys
Caution's back out here, Eddie.
Caution out, and it looks like Brandon. Oh, big wreck. Holy cow.
Oh, my goodness.
Better place. Caden Norfree involved. Jared Clark. And, your points leader, he is able to get through that, but it looks like Johnny Shade was involved. He's going to lose that front bumper again. They just put that thing back on, and now he's lost it again. So back under caution. Let's see if we can find out what happened.
Man, just looked like a calm caution there. Maybe he was thinking it was a 1-car incident, but no, we had like 6 cars back there torn up. Gonna see what happened here back on our V-Speed instant replay. Looking here through 3 and 4, looks like it happens more up front with the 20 car of Caden, and then other cars check up and continue to get collected. Taking a look along here, wide helicopter view. You look at that green 20 car right in the middle there. Oh, it's even more further up than that.
Yeah, it was Fetterplace and Kenny Coppola that made contact.
Look along with that 34 car.
Yeah, he's driving it deep
in that 77. Oh yeah, 34. It drives it in too deep. Gets Kenny in the left rear. gets them all sideways, stacks up in front of the field.
Yeah, and then it's just calamity after that. Oh, somebody hit the dadgum. Oh, that's Middle Miss, I think. Hit the barrels on pit road, and
he's got some smoke.
Watch this.
Right along with that 16 car, that beautiful lime green, goes down to the bottom to avoid, gets smashed, and then he's headed right for those barriers. Can't turn in the grass. Oh, that is a day ender right there.
Oh, so frustrating to have that happen. You can see that car is toe up, is what they would say.
Oh, yes. That does not look well. Crab walking there down the pit lane. Once you get on that grass, it is like you're in a drift car, but you're like a drift car on ice.
Yeah. And there was just so much going on right there that it makes sense that it's just like, I'm looking over here, looking over there, and then all of a sudden, barrels.
Yeah. Barrels. Barrels.
Yeah, trying to get the stream fixed, folks. I know it's choppy. It's very hard to watch. Hopefully the audio is okay. I really can't. I don't have the audio coming through from the streams in, but y'all can let me know if the audio is okay, if it's skipping as well. But yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on. So we'll continue to try to fix that and get it figured out. But right now we'll just have to deal with it. But I'm gonna continue to try to figure something out, get it going for you.
Well, during that time, while we were checking out the replay of all the chaos that happened, we had a few cars pit. Randy Mullins, I think he stayed out. I know that for sure that Tim Wortman did come down the pit lane because he's back in 14th now. I think he's the first car on some fresh stuff.
Well, we're gonna take. I hate to do this, but we're gonna try. No, we're not. We're gonna keep it here. Scott, let's just keep talking about it as we get ready for this restart. I'm gonna try to work on some things and try to get this going.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, here we are again. Another caution. We haven't had a green flag run all day. So as a driver, what are we expecting here? Are we expecting are we going to see green flag runs at some point, or are we going to keep having cautions every 15 laps? I mean, the longest green flag stint we've had was in our first stage there. I believe we had about 17 or so laps of green, but since then we haven't had more than 10 green flag laps. So if I'm a driver here, I'm definitely thinking about all these cautions, because if we're having cautions, we cautions breed cautions. And so if we're talking about this, I think we're going to see them for the rest of the night. With what this series is, with these guys and how hard they race, it's inevitable that you're going to have someone charge in too hard, like we saw the 34. You're going to have someone get a little loose on the outside and make accidental contact. Racing incidents all around the field. So it's really, if I'm a driver, I'm expecting to see cautions. And if I'm expecting to see cautions, I'm going to have to figure out when do I need to take tires, because we've still got, most drivers still should have around 3 sets. So now it's figuring out when to put on your fresh sets.
All right, well, coming to the restart here, Chris Davis with a great jump. Going to pull up in front of Brandon Bikey. These tires with 9 laps on them, so they are definitely in the good of these tires. So now it's just going to be dealing with the runs, dealing with the the trying to maintain track position. And you want to be up in the top 3. I think you have to be either first or second to really feel safe, because second place has a lot of power to be able to push the leader. And if any battles go on behind you, you guys can kind of pull away. So the first 2 have a lot of power, but you can see Nick King has been really incredible down on the bottom lane, and he's going to continue that bid. Now everybody's kind of single file up on the outside. You can see almost Justin Belmont's going to get to the wall, make a little bit of contact with Aaron Matthews, and that sends them all over the place. But that was all Nick King trying to maybe get up into the top lane, and it closed up really quick.
Gallimore tried to send it down there on the bottom there with Justin Belmont getting into the wall. Aaron Matthews now on the inside trying to make a move here, but won't have that momentum, and Justin Belmont will hold.
Yeah, these guys fighting for their lives. Nick King, though, down on the bottom of 3 and 4, man, he has been really, really good. If he could ever make that bottom work in 1 and 2, I think he could drive right up to the front. But you can see how good he is into 3 and 4 versus the other drivers. Now, down the straightaway, those guys lined up in the draft, obviously much better. But he is just like, hey, I could ride in line or I can try to make something work. And you can see here in 1 and 2, not quite the jump forward he gets in 3 and 4, but watch him here as he goes into 3 and 4. Let's go on board with him. He's going to try to side draft, pull those guys back to him. Watch him as he goes down in 3 and 4.
He just has such a good turn through the center. I mean, he goes all the way down to the yellow line, paints it, and look, I think he's going to clear Belmont here, or excuse me, Bikey here. Yes, he'll clear him into second. Probably going to try to get in line behind Chris Davis. No, try the side draft here. Now battling for position from on the inside.
He almost got clear. I think he probably, I don't know. He might be able to clear Chris Davis here. I mean, he is so fast in 3 and 4 that I think he might be able to make this move work, especially now that that outside line is not pushing like it was before, as they're kind of all side by side back there, kind of yanking each other back. Watch Nick King as he goes down to the corner. He's been so good here and not even close, able to take that top spot without any effort at all. 3 and 4 is his corner at the moment. He drives up there and just takes the lead. That's the strongest we've seen anybody go up there and do anything all race long.
Well, it's the second leader that we've seen of the night. We've seen Chris Davis took the lead off of the start. We had your pole sitter of Tim Wortman lead a few laps here, but it's been Chris Davis pretty much all night. Now, Nick King, your new leader.
Yeah, and he has gapped Chris Davis by quite a bit, and you can see the draft that Bikey, Belmont, and Blaine Wilson are getting as they're kind of working together. And you can see how quickly, once they start to see the lead pull away, they all somehow become the best group of guys ever and just decide, you know what, let's all work together now. They can do that when the leader starts to drive away.
Oh, exactly. But the minute that they're close back to him, they all spread out 2 and 3 wide yet again.
Yeah. So right now you can see that little group of cars. Now here comes Aaron Matthews, though, not gonna allow that to happen. Going to jump up to the outside of Gallimore and going to take those spots when he can. And you can see, I wouldn't call this desperation. I would call it just, hey, being aggressive, knowing what's at stake. And these guys not playing around. Matthews been working that outside line all night long and is really trying to make that work. And it seems like right now at this moment, the way the track is running, seems like in 1 and 2, you can really run that outside line. But in 3 and 4, if you're not in the middle or the bottom, it's not as fast. So I'm surprised I don't see more people trying to run multiple lanes, high in the 1 and 2, low in 3 and 4, because that seems like to be the best line to run. But at this point, I'm running whatever Nick King's running.
I would run what Nick King is running if I thought about his setup. I think he has set his car perfectly up to be able to roll that center so well that he's able to clear cars like that, because we talked about it. It's so hard to pass. The setup he has on his car, he is able to roll a center like no other car out there, and it is able to help him make passes like he did to get back up to this lead.
Yeah, they continue to battle side by side. Aaron Matthews now on the bottom. Ooh, he's going to get real loose there. And now Wortman going to go into the inside. We're 3 wide again.
Wow, big loose there for the 5 of Aaron Matthews. Little bump from the 18 of Blaine Wilson. 83 of Tim Wortman still on the bottom up there. He's been running the bottom all night long, just like Nick King has, but I don't know if they're on the same strategy or same setup, but he has been ringing that bottom all night long as we'll take a ride along with them right on the inside of, Paul Gallimore.
Yeah, and the bottom definitely does save tires. So if you can run down there, it's just frustrating. It's tough for a racer to watch those runs come from the top side. It's hard to kind of weather that storm. And if you're patient enough and if you're willing to do it, it can definitely save a lot of tire running down here. So if he can maintain that and continue that as we get into a longer run, Tim's going to be in a good spot. It's just how long can you deal with the fact that people are getting, those big momentum runs on the outside and passing you. It's hard to deal with that as a racer. You want to jump up to that outside line to defend that. But if you're going to try to save tire, run it down at the bottom, saving tire, committing to that is usually a winning move. So we'll see if he can commit to it and maybe come out the end in a better spot.
Couldn't agree with you more there. He'll stay in that bottom now on the inside of Jordan Schmeets. Again, Jordan Schmeets running well all night. Qualified back in the mid pack, and he's been running top 10 most of the night, Eddie.
Yeah, for sure. Nick King still out front. That gap is sort of closed in. Chris Davis gets to the back bumper, so Nick is not quite out of the woodwork as everybody's sort of single file at the moment. So they're starting to calm down just a little bit.
Well, this could become one of the longest green flag runs that we've seen, as we see Chris Davis dive it down on the inside of Nick King here, trying to take back the lead, take back what was his. Side by side here, Brandon Bikey going to give Chris Davis the shove here. That may very well give him what he needed to take this lead back. Yet another hit to the bumper.
Yeah, Nick King wanted to hang on to that spot, would love to stay out front, but it was just a matter of time as we're now just 45 laps to the end of this thing. And you got to be positioning as Bikey has to put a little extra wheel into it. They almost make real bad contact, and he goes down to the inside wall. So he was very close, lost a lot of momentum, though, as Justin Belmont now into the third position up on the outside trying to make that work.
Is he going to compromise Bikey's position? Will he slide up here? No, he won't. He'll stay on the inside trying to take it from Nick King. Justin Belmont going to give a big shove now to that 24 car of Nick King. Hung out to dry is Brandon Bikey on the bottom.
Yeah, we'll see what he can do down on the bottom. We've seen Nick King be very strong in 3 and 4. If he can just hold steady in 1 and 2, which he does right there. So maybe Bikey can get the run that he needs down this back straightaway. He's going to have Paul Gallimore give him a good shove. That's exactly what he needs. He's already clear going into 3 and 4 as they go right down to the bottom. Nick King going to try to fight Gallimore on the outside, but now Bikey is clear and looking for the lead.
Oh, contact there with Nick and Gallimore. That'll put the 83 of 10 Wortman on the bottom 3 wide.
Man, this has been wild. Wild racing. As, man, 3 wide, Wortman down to the bottom. He's been running that bottom line, maybe starting to see the benefits as they he's got 15 laps on his tires, so he's got the freshest tires out of this bunch. So he had pitted a few laps after this other group, and you're going to see Nick King now give him a big shove down the back straightaway. So now it might be time for Tim Wortman to put those tires into use and start to move up towards the front and take this lead. But you're starting to see a little separation here, Scott, as everything is starting to, you can see just big gaps. You got a big gap back to Ryan Huff, who's back here by himself. Then Matt Mackin is, those guys been involved in some incidents. And then your points leader. This is sort of maybe the biggest story at the moment, Randy Mullins, who we saw drive all the way from the back to the front. Now he is running back in the 18th position. So your points leader going to maybe need a little bit of help to get back up towards the front.
Well, after he got involved in that crash, came to pit lane, started in the back here for this green flag stint, and must have gotten with some slower drivers back there that he just wasn't able to keep up with the draft. And once you get solo like this, all these cars back past Ryan Huff, Hunter Carmichael, everyone back behind them, once you get single filed out, you are almost a second slower than all the cars in the draft. So the minute that you lose that, you are losing almost a second a lap.
Yeah, so he is 10.1 seconds behind the leader, and he not being in this draft, he's in danger of maybe losing a lap if this continues on green flag and they continue to stay kind of packed up here. I mean, they're running a 39.9, and Randy Mullins is running a 40.1 by himself, so it is a massive difference. I guess not massive, but it definitely adds up over time. So he's going to have to just continue to run as many fast laps as he can. I mean, the likelihood of us getting a caution is very high, especially the way these guys have been racing. But we'll see how it all plays out for the 54. Of course, he is locked into playoffs by a large margin, so not a huge issue for him. But right now, it's the story is all these guys up here who need those wins, who need to. Chris Davis. We haven't
needs the win.
Yeah, we haven't talked enough about him. He's 242 points above the cutoff. He's in good shape, but he needs to set himself apart for the playoffs once they start. And so, a win tonight can take you from, hey, I'm just making it in, to now I am a favorite to move on through the rounds. And so, I mean, a win could be huge. And then you go back to Tim Mortman Jr. I mean, he has been over 95 races, I think, at this point without a win. I know he is super hungry. So that 83 is trying to get it done here tonight. Then you got, I mean, Bikey and Cox, they are for sure in. But then you go back to 5th place and Nick King and Justin Belmont. Those guys right at the cutoff. I mean, those guys need a great finish, first of all. But if they can get up there and get a win, anything that you can throw, any Hail Marys that you have, might be worth it for those drivers, especially Nick King. He is out by 28 points.
Well, we saw that when Nick King has a fresh set of tires, he can absolutely work that bottom and get up to the lead. So if we have a late caution, maybe with 12 laps to go, and Nick King could get a fresh set, I absolutely believe that he could absolutely work his way up into the top 3 to possibly take and steal the win. But again, like you said, Chris Davis needs that win, but Tim Wortman sitting right behind him. He's been quiet all night long, started on our pole, but he's been sitting mid top 10 all night, and he is just riding along right here, ready to pounce the minute Davis makes a mistake.
Yeah, and while those guys don't need wins to get into the playoffs, likely, wins when you win, that just gives you that extra little bit of confidence. And man, confidence plays a huge role in how you drive and how much, how well you perform out there. It doesn't sound like it should, but man, it really does. So just to get the win, get pressure off. And here we go. We got an 83 of Tim Wortman ready to make his bid with those fresher tires. He's been saving them. Does he have enough? And it looks like as the tires have worn out, man, that bottom just not where it needs to be. And that one move now opens him up for Bikey to go down to the inside.
Well, and personally, if I'm heading into Daytona next week, I want to be secured with a win.
Yeah, for sure. You're absolutely right. Well, Chris Davis able to hold off that one charge, and now Bikey going to take over the second spot. The crossover into lap 89, almost to 90 laps ticking down. Still going to have a pit stop that have to be made here. And by your calculations, it should be the final stop of the race, assuming we go green. And with all the cautions that we had early on, I mean, right now it's 7 cautions. Well, really 5 natural cautions and 2 stage. Right now it's kind of gotten pretty clean here. Everybody's kind of gotten spread out, and everybody that's in the top 10 just trying to hang on to the draft. And it just seems right now, you're just like with Wortman there, he didn't need to make that move, but he wanted to try to make a pass, and you see what it costs him at this moment. There's just not a whole lot of draft coming up behind him. And so if you make the move, you see Bike can just give a shove to the 74. If you make a move, you're going to lose a couple spots. And right now, these top 4 would love to see, hey, let's all pull away. Let's pull away from this second pack if we can, if we work together. And our winning chance goes from maybe 1 out of 10 to 25%. That's pretty good odds there as you get down to the end of this thing.
Oh, I'd agree. You know who we haven't talked about all night who's up here now? Matt Cox. Where did he come from? That 32 car, we saw him get involved in an incident earlier. He's up in 4th now in this lead draft pack.
Yeah, he no stranger to the front. Matt Cox, he's got 2 wins on the season, and he knows how to get it done. He has slowly been making his way to the front. Started in that 14th position, and here he is. When it's check cashing time, Matt Cox always seems to show up. And hanging on to this back part of the draft is they're kind of mixing up just a little bit, but you can see just how quickly things happen. Barry Sanders on those fresher tires, same set of tires that Tim Wortman Jr. is on in 3rd place. He's trying to grab that draft. I mean, you can see him back here. Oh, he gets in the wall. As soon as we put the camera on him, he was trying to run these guys down. And now Justin Belmont going to go down to the inside, and now they're going to be side by side. That's not what they want to see, is they're trying to catch that lead pack.
And Justin Belmont had just come out of the pit area. Nick King just dove into the pits. Paul Gallimore, Hunter Carmichael, Randy Mullins, all down into the pits now.
So pit window is open. When will these guys come down pit road? Paul Gallimore, it brings the 11 down pit road. 4 tires and fuel, going to be the call for sure, except for if you're Randy Mullins, who came down and I don't know if that's right. That can't be right. It shows he didn't take but fuel. So I'm not really sure. Maybe Randy Mullins trying to make up the difference. Is Paul Gallimore going to slide through his stall? That's a mistake you can't make here with that draft being so important. Now you're going to lose so much precious time. But talking about the 54, I think he just took fuel only to try to make up the difference in that time that he was missing. I'm not real sure if that is right, but only 5.4 seconds in his stall. So a little bit of strategy here for Randy Mullins, maybe trying to catch that lead draft.
Well, it might have taken just just right sides there. Could have just taken 2. It's a viable strategy. It could work, but personally, I wouldn't want to be on the same inside left tires for almost 60 laps.
Yeah, trying to go back and see. Oh, he hasn't pitted in 27 laps. So I maybe I misunderstood, but yeah, Randy Mullins has not come down pit road yet. Sorry about that. That is my mistake. Too much to trying to figure out how to stop this stutter on the stream, trying to do 2 things at once. I got one eyeball going one way, one eyeball going the other. But up front, it is still Chris Davis, Brandon Bikey, Matt Cox. As you can see, some lap traffic starting to kind of fit their way in there. But here comes Brandon Bikey down to the inside to take the lead.
And this is something we haven't seen all night, Eddie. First of all, Brandon Bikey making a great move here into 3, trying to block Chris Davis here. Chris Davis trying to get down to the inside. He will try to attempt the crossover here down the front straightaway and take the lead back. He's got a good run down here to the inside, but will he be able to prevail down here in 1 and 2?
Well, I'll tell you who's loving this. Look here, Barry Sanders was trying to keep up with that draft, he was trying so hard he got into the wall, but now they made it easy for him. Look how quickly he was able to close up on this lead pack now that they're running side by side. So that's how quickly that happens. So now they're going to have a much bigger pack as here comes Barry Sanders along with Blaine Wilson, Jordan Schmitz, and Alex Coffey.
Davis slid right back up there in 1 and 2 in front of Brandon Bikey. And one thing I wanted to mention, Eddie, is we got some cars coming to pit road there real quick. Some of our cars on the back, Aaron Matthews and others. But one thing I wanted to mention is that's Matt Cox there down coming into the pit lane running 4th. One thing I wanted to mention is this is the first time we've seen green flag pit stops all day long. And this is really going to separate our field. One thing when I was racing last night, the pack racing was difficult. It was tough, but the minute you got single filed out like this, it was so important track position that you had before. So these drivers really, unless we get a caution and we can run this out to the end, it's these first 3 drivers, and that is who it's going to be between. Whoa, Chris Davis coming there to pit lane. Nick King did not know he was coming. Had to check up.
Oh, man, they're getting hot into the pit road. I don't know if Wortman made it down to pit road speed. It's going to be close. As you can see, our leaders coming down pit road. Bikey going to stay out on the track. And now they're side by side on pit road. That could be dangerous as well. Who's going to give to get down the pit road? Hopefully, Davis's stall is first. And, boy, it looks like it's perfect for Tim Wortman. Oh, as he slide through, does he make it? Perfect stop for Wortman Jr. We'll see if he can gain that spot on pit road.
He was so close there. Want to see if Wortman was speeding or not. Not sure if he was, but we'll just have to see here soon.
Chris Davis takes 2 tires. What a call there. Wow, interesting. We have talked about this ad nauseum all season long about the next gens and taking right side tires and how effective it can be. And Chris Davis trying to get any advantage he can comes out with a massive lead over those who have already come down pit road. So a little strategy call here for Chris Davis. Now, Justin Belmont will actually assume the lead once everything cycles out. He took 4 tires. He pitted 8 laps ago, but he's going to have a whole lot older tires than these guys, but he will assume the lead. But how about that 2-tire call out of Chris Davis?
I've got to imagine that Chris Davis is betting on a caution and just trying to gain some extra time here. I'm really not sure because he's the leader. And as a leader, I'm really not sure why you don't just take 4 unless you have a problem with your pit stop or anything. But as the leader, I can't see why you don't take 4 because without the draft, you're going to fall back to the rest of the pack. So that gap that you had with those 2 tires is going to diminish at some point.
Yeah, we've kind of discussed this with just saying that, if you're having maybe some issues. Sometimes 2 tires can help you turn the car a little bit better. So an interesting call there, but you can see Nick King, who was a little bit behind, is now caught back up. 6 laps ago, Nick King came down pit road, and he is about to overtake Chris Davis. So, I don't know. That has worked. We saw it Vegas earlier this year. Taking 2 tires was absolutely a great strategy. It was faster to take 2 tires every single stop of the race at Vegas. At Michigan is at the same. Right now, it's not looking to be the case as Nick King down to the inside of Chris Davis, as we've got other folks coming down pit road. Alex Coffey has come down pit road. The other leaders as well. So it is going to be a wild one to the finish as we have less than 25 laps to go as Chris Davis blinks out there for a moment.
Well, a little battle up here in the front pack. The cars who will assume the lead once our green flag pit stops cycle out here up at the front. Man, Paul Gallimore dicing up some moves right with Matt Cox right behind.
Yeah, and it's so tough. You want to look at Nick King right down to the bottom, taking advantage of where his car has been the best. But look at Chris Davis holding on to it. But who's loving this is Justin Belmont, who is, it all, because these guys are racing so hard, Belmont is out here able to continue to put down really quick lap times. His tires are going to be much older, but if they continue to battle side by side, they may lose sight of what's going on up here, which is Belmont's got the lead. If everything cycles around, they're going to have to catch him. And right now, they are running faster lap times, but if they continue to run side by side, that's only going to get worse and worse. So, Belmont loving what he's seeing in the back right behind him.
Yeah, but to be honest, I'm not really sure what Belmont did to get such a gap, to get the lead here. I guess he just pitted so much earlier than everybody else at the beginning of this stint that he just had such fresher tires. He was able to leapfrog those up front leaders before our pit stops.
That's exactly right. He pitted 13 laps ago, where Matt Cox,
there we go,
in 6th position, pitted 6 laps ago. So Nick King pitted 11 and Gallimore 10. So those guys tried a little undercut here to try to get that track position, and it's worked. But you can see Matt Cox now through. Chris Davis is on those 2 tires, so we'll see what those can do here. But Matt Cox in a great position. But look at Chris Davis, gets to the outside, able to sneak up there and get that outside position, and he's gonna have Nick King pushing him along. And again, for Justin Belmont, just big old smile on Belmont's face, and this is what he needs. If they can stay green, Matt Cox is the one that's going to run him down, I believe. Nick King gets loose there.
Big loose coming off of 2 there for Nick King. And another thing we didn't talk about, Justin Belmont, 16th in points. The last car in, only 28 points to the good. And right now he is running, almost 3 seconds. 2 to 3 seconds ahead of Brandon Bikey there and Chris Davis, Matt Cox, that whole pack. So if he could stay out front here and get this win, he would jump on our playoff standings.
Yeah, he's banking on that undercut. Now he will be struggling here the last 20 laps. The 20 laps at Michigan is a long time. It seems like it's not that much, but it is. And you can see Chris Davis on those 2 tires making it work. We've seen it time and time again in this next-gen car, those 2 tires making a big difference. I can't tell you why. I think these guys who know more than I do probably could. Well, maybe ask them if it becomes an important part of this story at the end of this race. But, 2 tires a lot of times sounds like a bad idea, not in the next-gen. Just an odd phenomenon that you can see happen. And Chris Davis has been able to make the best of it here so far. Now has cut down that lead, that 2-second lead that Belmont had, down to 1.4 seconds. So Belmont losing a little bit of his advantage as the tires start to wear. We talked about the tire wear, how they go off cliffs. Well, Belmont's going to hit those cliffs a lot earlier, 8 laps earlier. So Belmont's got a lot of work to do. What he would love to see is for the 3 in front of him, Jerry Clark, Nigel Christensen, and Randy Mullins, to go down pit road and then immediately a caution come out to give him that lead. So, yeah, he's going to have to really work here to keep these guys behind him. Now they're working together in a draft.
Yeah, you said exactly right. Justin Belmont is hoping that the three in front of him will go down, and then a caution will come out almost immediately, because I think that's the only way that he's going to be able to keep this lead once we get into these later laps. His tires are just going to be so old, he is just going to have to be able to nurse it to the finish.
Yeah, and this has been the longest green flag run we've seen. I mean, green flag pit stops, early part of the race really sketchy with all the stage points at stake, and now it's really calmed down, and it's become it's still a 5-horse race, I believe. I mean, I think Belmont's going to be in big trouble, but Davis, Matt Cox, Bikey, they seem to have the speed to get a win and get it done. Davis has been one of the fastest cars all night long, so I really can't bet against him. He won both stages. It'd be really hard to say that he is not the favorite. And look at him, 0.2 of a second behind Belmont. Belmont's in trouble. He has tried everything he can. He's getting some lap traffic, putting that dirty air on his nose. I think Chris Davis is he's smelling blood out here.
Trying to get past him. They'll make Chris Davis trying to get past Belmont here on the outside. 17 of Nigel Christensen right in the way. There's contact, and the 6 car will get so loose there down to the bottom.
Yeah, you can see he was all out of sorts trying to gas it up, keep that from happening, but those tires now starting to fade really quickly. So Chris Davis will get the assumed lead, as, man, he is going to run up on his teammate, have to take evasive action as Randy Mullins now coming down pit road, waited as long as he could to try to get that caution, but it did not come. So your points leader, Randy Mullins, now going to fall back through the field, not going to have a great finish. But Jared Clark is still out front. He is yet to come in and make his stop. 43 laps on this stint here. But Chris Davis now a second and a half behind him. He will take the lead no matter what.
Well, yeah, and then you got Matt Cox right behind Chris Davis. Then that 83 of Tim Wortman finally cycled back up front. Justin Belmont down to 6th. Those tires are just getting too old for him to be able to hang on.
Yeah, everybody in this little group has the similar tires except for Justin Belmont. He's going to be, you can see he's really struggling to hold on to this pack already. He's about 3 or 4 tenths slower per lap. So right now, if everything stays green, we don't have a caution, your battle's going to come from these 5 right here. And I tell you, Aaron Matthews would love to get up there and get a win. He is, I mean, all these guys would love to get a win, as we've said, but there's a few guys in this little pack right here that would love to get it done.
Oh, exactly. I mean, we got Matt Cox again. We talked about it. He's got a ton of wins. He's got 2 wins, but who doesn't want another? Aaron Matthews, the 5 car, sitting back down he's sitting in 13th. Imagine if he could win. He'd lock himself in before Daytona. So some great guys up here in this front pack that could really would love to see a win. Nick King in 8th, not too far back, but he could also love to see a win here.
Battle for the lead going on. Matt Cox now has finally made his move, gotten around Chris Davis. Now Chris Davis under fire again from Tim Wortman. All these guys feeling the pressure of the end of the race starting to is Wortman going to get tight under Chris Davis, going to push him up almost into the wall, as here comes Randy Mullins on those fresh tires, going to try to get his lap back. Wortman going to try to get a push here from that lap car of Randy Mullins, and almost contact as the 83 gets a little bit tight in the middle of 3 and 4, man, almost calamity.
Very close there to having our caution. Again, we've had the longest green flag stint we've had all night. But you know who wants to see it go green now, I believe? I believe Matt Cox wants to see it go green now. He's got a great lead out front, and he's riding solo.
Tim Wortman going to fall all the way back. Was trying to take over second. Going to fall back to 5th as he really hurt that right front tire, pushing up into the side of Chris Davis. You can see he's losing time as that right front is heated up. So not great there. That's all it took, just one little issue, and now he's going to have to get the momentum back up and try to get back up to the front. But right now, Matt Cox is starting to pull away just ever so slightly, as now the 54 is becoming sort of a factor here as he's trying to get his lap back. I mean, you could say, why is a lap car battling with the leaders? Well, it's because if he gets around these guys and a caution comes out, he does not have to depend on the lucky dog. He needs to get it the natural way. He's got the fresher tires, and he's going to do that right here. So, and I think Matt Cox would like for that to continue and let him just go on and go. That way, you know, he's not dumping dirty air on my 32 machine. So, able to get around him. So, Matt Cox still your leader. Who has got something for him as he's able to get up to the front, get around Chris Davis. Chris Davis still on those 2 tires. And it's anybody's race right here. These guys just generating momentum, trying to keep the runs going, get up, make sure everybody is tight on the draft. And when you get the opportunity to make a move, you better make a move that ends up in a pass. You better not. If you're Wortman back here behind Aaron Matthews, you want to push Matthews up to Bikey. And Bikey wants to push Chris Davis up to Cox. So you don't want to make a move. If you're Wortman, making a move here would be ill-advised. You want to make sure that you are caught up, because if you don't make that pass, you might lose the lead draft. So a lot of chess playing going on right now. You have to make the right move when you need to. And here comes Brandon Bikey down to the inside. He's not going to complete the pass, though. Chris Davis still going to be there. No, he does. Into 3 and 4, able to take that spot. And now Bikey up to second place as we have just under 10 laps to go. Bikey now with a big run, going to go down to the inside. Cox trying to break the draft if he can, not able to do it. Bikey is there. Cox going to roll that outside. He's going to play that defensive role. He's going to stay up sort of the middle line. Don't want to let him get up to the outside. Bikey, if you're slick, you want to try to get him to block down to the bottom and get to his outside, maybe in 1 and 2 if you can. So down the front stretch, if you can kind of bait him down and try to block and then get the run on the outside in 1 and 2, that's a great spot to make a move. But he's going to get a big run right here down the front straightaway.
Brandon Bikey now back behind Matt Cox. We got a single file pack here for our front battle. The real question is, Eddie, which one of them is going to be able to make the move in the end to be able to get the lead across the checkered flag?
Well, Bikey got a great dive down in the corner, but actually has to check up as they both get in the wall. That's going to open the door for Chris Davis. He does the same thing. Here comes Aaron Matthews with a massive run.
Right behind him, Tim Wortman following in. Nothing they could do with that run. Chris Davis back down to 5th. I think besides cycling through cautions, I think that's the lowest he's been all day.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. Aaron Matthews gave up the goods there. He had a massive run and kind of checked up a little bit, and now going to pay for it as it kind of let Bikey and Cox off the hook a little bit. Now they're going to go back at it. Bikey down to the inside. Gets a great run through the middle of the corner. Not going to have that dirty air on his nose. Going to get a great drive off of turn 2. That's the best I've seen off the bottom all race long here. And he's going to be side by side going into 3 and 4.
Can he clear him going into 3 and 4 here? Runs through the center here. He is clear. Will slide up in front of Matt Cox. Brandon Bikey, your new leader.
What a great move. Great setup. Got the run. Got side by side down the back straightaway. 3 and 4. We've seen the bottom be really, really good, and he took advantage of all that. That is a perfect setup with here. Just 5 laps to go in this race. Now, if you're Aaron Matthews, Chris Davis, these guys are battling hard. They're still side by side. They're going to lose track of the leaders. I mean, those two are pulling away at the moment. Chris Davis going to get to the back bumper of Matthews, and Wortman still trying to hang on to that spot. Now he's going to have to fall in line. These guys, with just a few laps to go, are going to have to really push here. Now, if you're Aaron Matthews and Chris Davis, Scott, I mean, you got to be thinking, let's work together here. We want to try to get a win. You can see Wortman pushing Chris Davis, because as soon as these guys up front get side by side, you can run up on them quick. And that's what you want to plan for here if you're the top 3 here, or the 3 through 5th. So you want to be waiting in the wings for that side-by-side battle from Bikey and Cox if that happens, and take advantage of it if you can. If you're Matt Cox, I think you got to wait to the last lap to make your move for that very reason.
Aaron Matthews has to be working with Chris Davis and Tim Wortman here, because if they don't, if they try to battle it out, well, they will be fighting for 3rd through 5th. They will not have a chance at the win. Now, Matt Cox, the real question is, what does he do? He has to stay in that draft of Brandon Bikey, because if he loses that draft at all, if we get no caution and Brandon Bikey doesn't make a mistake, it'll be his win for the taking.
Yeah, we haven't seen Bikey out front with the clean air just yet, and it seems like that 27 machine, when you get out front, he is driving really well, and he is starting to put a little gap on Matt Cox, who may have pushed it a little bit too early. It's hard to say. It seems like they're both really, really fast at the moment, but Bikey just starting to gap Cox a little bit. He was about a tenth faster last lap at the line. We'll see what the times are. You can see everybody single file behind him. But at this rate, how fast Bikey's a tenth faster than everybody up here. So he's got the car, and I don't know if draft's going to help you if somebody's a tenth of a second faster. Bikey might run away with this one.
Just crossed the line, 4-3 to go. Got almost a half a second gap back to the second place car of Matt Cox. Again, if no caution comes out, I believe this is Bikey's for the taking. He's been running top 10 all night long, and in our third stage, he's been running top 5 all night long. He's had the strategy, but can he finish it out? Coming to 2 to go here at the line.
2 laps to go. Bikey with the lead. That time at the line, still the fastest car on the track. Chris Davis maybe a little bit faster, but he is too far back right now. Cox is the only one that's going to have a shot. They're going to go side by side behind him. Third through fifth. Going to be side-by-side. Wortman down to the inside. They could feel the opportunity for a win starting to fade as he's not able to complete the pass. It's all on Matt Cox. Does he have a run? Is he going to have enough momentum? Down to the bottom in 3 and 4. Does gain on him a little bit through 3 and 4. Going to have a run. Once you get within 0.3 of a second, the draft really picks up with how much of a hole they punch in the air. Matt Cox now within 0.2 of a second. He was a tenth faster that time by a last opportunity. White flag is out for Matt Cox and Brandon Bikey. Who's going to get the win?
This is it. Does Matt Cox have anything left in the tank? Anything left in his bag of cards for the 27 of Brandon Bikey here going into turn 3 for the final time? What will Cox do?
Gonna drive it deep into the corner. Hail Mary, but not gonna make it. Coming off of turn 4, Brandon Bikey all the way from the back of the field. 22 spots he gained, and he will win number 4 on the season here at Michigan.
Well, you said it, Eddie. Brandon Bikey, he's usually sometimes in the back, but he is always there at the end to get the win. And here he is yet again, his 4th win for the season. That's the most wins of all drivers, only first to Kenny Coppola, who is at 3 wins. So great job by Brandon Bikey. Consistent all night long. Little fun contact there down the straightaway. But Brandon Bikey, your winner on tonight's race at Michigan.
Yeah, just an incredible race by all these guys. It was a lot of fun to watch. Obviously, Michigan puts on a pretty good show, and these drivers always seem to know how to get it done. And, man, it's just awesome to see that finish. And it kind of go green as long as it did. I mean, we had a green flag pit stop, went green all the way to the end. And that's just a testament to this league and the quality of drivers that they put on track. So, well, man, congratulations to Brandon Bikey. Just an incredible race. We'll get these interviews in here. And then, like I said, I apologize again for the stream. If there's anything I could have done to try to fix it, I would have. But, yeah, just not cooperating tonight. I could see the stream is pretty much unwatchable. So, but either way, we had a great show, and at least the audio was good. But Bikey doing his patented reverse victory lap. He's done that 4 times on the season. He's going to do it again here tonight. And that's hard to do, Scott. It's hard to go around in reverse as hard as.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
There's your winner, Brandon Bikey, kind of setting his flag for a championship contender, saying, y'all are gonna have this championship's going through the 27 beast mode. It's all going through right here. So, all right, well, let's get to some interviews. Let's talk to these guys, and we'll see what everybody thought about that race. That was pretty entertaining. We'll go to the results real quick, though. Bikey, Cox, your top 2, and then Aaron Matthews. What a great race for him. Started 26th up to 3rd. Um, just had a great run. Cannot say enough about how aggressive Matthews was tonight, and it paid off for him. Chris Davis with those 2 tires going to come home in 4. Tim Wortman Jr. going to be in that 5th spot. And then Jordan Schmeech comes home in 6. These guys kind of lost that lead draft. Barry Sanders in 7th, Blaine Wilson in 8th, Alex Coffey in 9th, and Jeffrey Taylor rounds out your top 10.
Well, then back in 11th, we'll have that 24. Nick King saw him so powerful on the bottom, but lost that lead draft as well. Then the 6 of Justin Belmont back there in your 12th position. And then your 11 of Paul Gallimore. Again, saw them running up front most of the night, just didn't have the right strategy. Then the 3 of Hunter Carmichael, the 93 of Ryan Huff, 54 of Randy Mullinger, points leader, just couldn't quite find it tonight in this second half. In 17th, the 01 of Matt Mackin. 18th, your 69 of Jared Clark. Tried to stretch it long there in that final stage, but just couldn't quite figure it out there. The 17 of Nigel Christensen brings up 19th, and then your 19 car, Nicholas Atwood, rounding out the top 20.
21st was Johnny Shea with Cade Norfree in the 22nd position. Shane Davis in 23rd. Jamison Middlemiss in 24th. Darren Mills in 25th. Brandon Fetterplace in 26th. Matthew Campbell in 27th. Kenny Coppola, I think he had some damage at some point that was catastrophic. So he ended up out of this thing after kind of having an up and down race, but he is going to be safe in the playoffs. Warren Young comes home in 29th, and then 30th, Ed Boyles Jr. So that's your results here tonight. And let's talk to some of these drivers and see what they thought about the race. And we got to start with your race winner, Brandon Bikey. Brandon, this is Eddie and Scott in the booth. You got a copy?
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. Man, congratulations on the race, man. Started in 23rd position. You didn't need a win, but dadgummit, it's good to get one. You started in the back, made your way up towards the front. That 27 car, very, very fast. It was very obvious, but you had to deal with a lot of traffic, and racing here at Michigan in the next gen can be frustrating at times. Talk to us about starting in the back, and then talk to us about how difficult it was. What did you struggle with getting up through the field?
Yeah, I wanted to have some fun. This Toyota Dodge Viper was just lightning quick on Kenny Coppola's setup, so it was amazing. I knew that getting through the pack, wouldn't be hopefully too big of a problem as long as I could avoid any wrecks that would happen because the setup was just on rails. And I just, sometimes it's just fun to come from the back and just kind of set the pace from back there and get a good feel for how everyone's racing. So you can get a little insight as you're coming through the field and see kind of where everyone's running and all that stuff. So it's part fun, part learning, and it was a lot of fun, man. When you know how it goes. If you're in a really fast setup, it's just pure fun. So that was what a run, man. My teammates were doing great too. So I'd love to see all of us running up near the top there.
Yeah, and it had to be particular about your moves when you make them. You couldn't just make moves willy nilly. It just could end up you losing 3 or 4 spots, especially when the pack was 15 strong there for a while. And it's such a tough deal. What's your strategy in races like this? Is to get to the front? Is to get to the top 5? I mean, but what Michigan's sort of unique in how it races versus everywhere else. Kind of what's your thought process when you get up into the top 5? Are you trying to get to the front, or do you just try to stay in the top 5, or you just try to stay in the top line? What's your kind of strategy?
It differs for sure. I'm more of a tire saver. I don't know if you guys have kind of noticed that's what I like to hang my hat on. So, for me, I had teammates in the top 1 or 2 for most of the race. So I was perfectly content just riding in third, saving my stuff, and really making a push there at the very end of the race. So, I didn't want to, that last green flag run, I wasn't even thinking about making a move until about 10 to go, where I knew, like you said, it is tough to pass. I think I had 1 or 2 lap newer tires than the guys around me. So I know I had a little bit of an advantage there already. So I just bided my time, wanted to take the right runs at the right time where I could get a good pass and not get caught stuck on the bottom side by side racing with somebody and losing time. So, just it's all about patience, all about racing clean, I like to give a ton of room around people when I'm passing them, and just to try to keep yellows from coming out. And I think for the most part, the whole league did a great job tonight. Making it a fun race and clean race for the most part. So it was great.
Well, you were able to get the win here at Michigan and kind of separate yourself with those 4 wins. So, congratulations on the win here tonight. Who do you got to thank?
Kenny Coppola, first and foremost, man. That setup was on rails. This is his home track. He would have been up there too. He got caught up in something earlier in the race, so that sucks to see because he would have probably beat the brakes off of me if he'd been up there. So, thank you to him, all of Beast Mode Performance, BMP, all the people watching in the chat that were supporting me, Wayne and St. Core, and just everybody that always gives a shout out to me up there. So I want to thank all of them. My wife Lindsay. I got family members that watch. My dad, Garrett. A lot of people that support me and doing this and have fun on Wednesday nights watching me. So I want to shout out to them and thank you guys for doing your broadcast. It's always just amazing to watch back. I have so much fun every Thursday morning. It's like something to look forward to and see what you guys, what crazy commentating you guys came up with that week. So appreciate it.
Well, you may not enjoy watching this one. Well, congratulations, Brandon. Fantastic race. Looking forward to see what you can do the next few weeks. And then it comes playoff time, and it is going to be a lot of fun. Congratulations again, Brandon.
Yeah, congrats to you, and congrats to the top 3. Everybody was great up there. Thanks.
There you have it. That's your winner here tonight, Brandon Bikey. And I think Matt Cox is caught up with Scott Shive.
Well, what's up, Matt? You got me in the booth?
I gotcha.
Well, here we are, your second place driver tonight. I know one spot worse than you wanted to be tonight, but let's talk about the race tonight. Take me through it tonight. We didn't see you for a first half. You were kind of chilling in the mid-pack there. Started about mid-pack. I believe you started back in 13th or 14th. Talk to me about that first half of the race and running in that mid-pack.
Yeah, I think you probably hit the nail on the head there with what I was planning on doing tonight. We're really just kind of chilling out, saving tires, and hopefully have long runs and be good on the long run. So, yeah, got to the third stage, and then we were positioned up far enough to go for it. So, got close, but second again.
Yeah, once you decided to go for it here in this third stage, we saw it run green. We hadn't seen a long green flag run all night. When you started to realize we were going to take green flag pit stops, you'd caught up to the lead pack there. You were into fourth. What was your plan heading into those pit stops? And then once you got back out there, you'd filed into second. What were you thinking in your head as a driver?
How many tires to take? I think that was the plan. I knew some people would be taking 2. I ended up going with 4. I don't know if 2 would have won me the race or not. It could have. I think Chris took 2, and he kind of fell off there at the end. But I don't know. Just strategy, I guess. Trying to think about what's going to position me up closest to the front for the end of it.
Biggest thing I saw there in the closing laps, you'd fallen back just a little bit there to Brandon Bikey, but then heading into the 3 and 4, heading to the final lap, we saw you gain up on him, but then into 3 and 4 on the final lap, you took a big dive. Take me through what was going through your mind headed down the back straightaway on that final lap.
Well, I had him on the radio, so he asked me if I was gonna Austin Dillon him.
That's what I was thinking.
He said, I said yes. But as soon as I lost grip on the front end, I lifted, so I didn't kill him.
Yeah, I saw you dive down into 3, and I was like, "Oh, we about to see another Austin Dillon happen here."
Yeah, I said that one. I told him that one's for the broadcast.
Well, it was a great effort there. Even though you didn't get the win, still great points already locked in, of course. So that'll do you well. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank tonight?
Just everybody that we race with, all the beast mode guys. We always have fun doing these on Wednesdays, and then all the other foolishness we get into on every other night. So just all the guys.
Well, that's your 32 of Matt Cox coming up in second. Thank you, Matt. Up next, we'll have the 5 of Aaron Matthews. He will be here with Eddie.
Well, Aaron, it's man, what a great finish tonight. It seemed like that number 5 machine was fast all night. You were making awesome moves trying to keep that track position, get yourself up to the front. And man, there at the end, just a little bit short from trying to get that win, but as far as playoff hopes and playoff points and stuff, what a great night for points.
Yeah, at least I got it going in the right direction finally. Seems like I've struggled all season long, and just had a little bit of luck on my side tonight. Um,
Yeah, I mean Michigan, a wide open track. I mean, you're really, pushing the limits of grip, but also having to deal with the draft, and you can't really get away, especially early on in the race, and you're just constantly fighting for positions. What were you struggling with the most, and what do you feel like maybe you were doing better than everybody that kind of kept you up in the front of the pack?
I felt like I was struggling in the center of the turn more than everybody else. I think I had a whole lot better entry than the other guys. And I guess they kind of averaged it out and led me to a third place finish.
Yeah, I mean, started all the way in the back, 26th, and we were talking about you pretty quickly. So that 5 machine really, really fast. I mean, excuse me, as we get down to the end of this thing, I mean, you're sitting 13th in points, 143 above the cut. You got to feel pretty good. But I mean, nights like tonight, even though you may not get a win, it's got to feel good to get a podium finish in the top 5, continue to kind of extend that lead over the cutoff as we got just a couple races left to go, and got to make you feel pretty confident about going into the playoffs.
Yeah, yeah. The bigger tracks are kind of my thing. I think next week's Daytona. I feel really good about that.
Well, it should be fun to watch for sure. Congratulations on your third place finish, Aaron. Who you got to thank?
Oh, I got to thank Bad Boy Racing, Barry Sanders, you guys putting on the broadcast. All about sheet metal, RS button boxes. Oh, and I'm sure there's a ton more I'm forgetting right now. I'm terrible at this interview stuff. Hopefully, I get better at it.
Well, I mean, you got to practice to get better at it. So we just need more podium finishes out of you, Aaron.
I'll do my best. How about that?
All right. There you have it. Third place finisher, Aaron Matthews, as he has a great finish, comes away with that final podium spot. Well, man, I'll tell you what. Pretty fun race there, Scott, and definitely appreciate you jumping on board tonight and making it easy on me. It was a lot of fun for sure. What's your final takeaways from this race as we get ready to close this thing down, Scott?
Man, I had a great time with you in here in the booth. It was just such great racing. We saw some racing incidents, but this group is just such a good group of drivers. They're clean with each other, they're respectful, but they're out here to have fun. And at the end of the day, that is really all that matters. All that we're all out here for is to have some fun, and these drivers absolutely did that. Gave us an absolute show here at Michigan International, and I was just thrilled. I was thrilled, Eddie.
Well, we move on next week to Daytona, which will be an exciting race, and then Darlington to set the playoff field. Cannot wait for the next 2 weeks. It's going to be a blast. Well, thanks to everybody for watching. Apologies again about the stream. We'll continue to work on that and try to figure out how we can avoid that in the future. But we pushed through, make it to the end. I want to thank our sponsor for tonight, RS Button Boxes, for their sponsorship of this race. OB Builders Cup Series for the sponsorship of the series here at Moonshiners Racing League. And for V-Speed, Adam Baker, Bradley Cooper, Eddie Smith, Scott Shive tonight, we hope that you enjoyed the action. We look forward to continue to bring all of Moonshiners as we get ready to end this season. It's been a fantastic season so far. Looking to finish it out on a high note. Next week, Daytona is a great place to do it. Y'all have a good night. We'll see you next week.